All right, welcome everybody. Let's see if I can get the cameras good. Okay, there we go. Welcome to MogTalk. This is episode 157, January 26, 2019. We are running into a ton of technical issues. I don't know what's going on, but for some reason, Zoom is failing on me quite a bit. But now we have our savior, Mrhappy, holding on to the call at least.
I did nothing. We stayed in the call when you disconnected last time, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know why. For some reason, my connection to Zoom is like flaking out, but my stream is good. But anyways, we're going to have technical difficulties a little bit today, so you're going to hear us kind of cut in and cut out possibly throughout the show, and I'll try to fix it as quickly as I can. And hopefully, if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be not as noticeable because I will probably do a lot of editing. But go on with the show. Today, we're doing a show based around basically the evolution, the casualization, and the future of MMOs. I want to throw all three terms out there because I feel like they're all vital things that we've been kind of dealing with, and they all kind of interlock and relate. If you guys haven't seen MogTalk, it's a show where we bring the community together to discuss everything from Final Fantasy XIV, from raiding, the juggler racing, and today we're broadening our scope just a little bit. It's a lot of just the genre, because there's a lot of things that are on my mind and have been on my mind for the last month. And hopefully we brought a broad range of opinions to the show, as well as people who have a very long history with the genre. So I want to go ahead and introduce all our guests. You guys all are probably all familiar with them in some way or another. I'm going to start, kind of go around like a clock, I guess, clockwise with Mr. Mrhappy here. Can you tell everybody who you are and kind of, I guess just what they need to know?
Hey guys, I can't even get through it myself when I do it every day. I'm Mr. Mrhappy. I play Final Fantasy XIV. I play a lot of Final Fantasy overall, and I have been playing MMOs since probably like 2002, 2003, like early Silk Road Online and like the evolution of KMMOs, free-to-play KMMOs, and Final Fantasy 11 and WoW and all that junk. So,
okay.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Welcome.
Thank you for coming. With the way your camera's working, maybe I have to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now let's go to the next guest. Arthars, can you tell everybody who you are real quick?
Yo, guys, what's up? Arthars. Been playing MMO for like 22 years. Yeah, like since the first time we get, at least in my country, since the first time we get broadband connection, I've been starting to play MMO. So yeah, it's good to be on this show talking about this because yeah, like you, I also have a lot of like questions and things to say and things I want to hear how the other people feel about this topic. It's been way overdue.
Right, I think so too. And it's sad technical issues are happening today because I will talk about that. You know what? Maybe we'll have a show about internet connections and how shitty they are for streamers. And how much you have to work for it. Perfect timing.
The
perfect timing.
You always hear him fine because you're going to hear him through his microphone, but the video is always going to do that. It's going to
flake out. Perfect timing. So we're going to have, they're always going to hear me, and you guys are going to freak out for a second, then come back here in a half a second. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we'll do a show on that one day. Ethys. You want to tell everybody who you are before it cuts off again?
That's me. I'm Ethys. I'm a lore expert, mostly in 14, and some other IPs as well. I've not had broadband for 22 years. I've had broadband for maybe 22 hours here in Australia, and that is just unimaginable to me. But I started playing MMOs very, very casually in high school because I had a bunch of friends that were way into WoW, and I couldn't really invest the time. So every time a new expansion came out, they dragged me in. I'd play for a couple of weeks, and I'd be like, "This is too much and kind of boring." So I'll see you guys later. But yeah, I've been getting more and more invested and more, I guess, hardcore towards MMOs since then. So I'd say particularly over the last 10 years.
10 years? Okay. If you guys are even remotely curious about my history here, I've been doing MMOs since I was 12 years old, I think. Playing on a 56K modem, which for you guys, you new kids, that you had to dial out to connect to the internet back in the old days on a phone line, and no one could pick up the phone.
Yep. If they did.
If they did,
Well, I mean, they could.
Yeah. And man,
you know what's the worst? The worst is people calling. You never give that line number to anyone before because it's strictly used for 56K modem. And then there's this someone would call once. I mean, not once. After he called you and disconnect you, you're like, okay, this has to be a missed call, right? Has to be a mistake, right? And then you turn it on again. Only 30 seconds later, he called you again. And then when you pick it up, it's like, okay, what's up? And then it's like, oh, can I speak to insert name here? Wrong number.
He's trying to sell you broadband.
I mean, you need it. You need it. God.
The irony.
Yeah, back in the day, it was rough. I think so. History wise, I think I wanted to get into MMOs when I was a young kid and EverQuest was out. Right, EverQuest was going, and then all of my my brother was playing. I played it for 2 seconds. I'm like, this is the best game. I got to play something, but I didn't have the great computer to play it. I didn't have anything, so I was like, what's the cheapest, shittiest thing that I could buy that's free? And I found this cheap, shitty MMO I think called Tibia, which was horrible, made by like 4 people. And like when you die, you lose all of your equipment, and you lose 10% of your experience and all of your inventory, everything. And then someone could just pick it up, and it was buggy. People could just like, it was overhead, and you could click on a character and drag it back and forth. And there's could be a fire there, and they just drag you back and forth inside the fire until you die. So it was a shittily designed game, but I was pretty immersed in it.
It was Tibia. It looks like Tibia is still running. Yeah.
It is.
Tibia's still running.
It's still running. It's still running. Absolutely.
Still going. Oh my god.
But anyways, yeah, Tibia still running, right? Ethys. You just Google it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you see how shitty it looks?
Yeah, it looks really shitty. But do you want to hear what's happening in Tibia at the moment?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so in 2005, a Tibia update added a door that requires a player to reach level 999 before it opens. The level 999 door remained a mystery until the middle of 2016, when a player named Karsik, the first player to reach level 999, entered the room. Later in April 2017, another player named Dev Onika entered the room. Dev Onika later released a live stream via his Twitch account where he entered the level 999 door at level 1001. He was transported to an island with NPC players and no missions or quests.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that game had no level cap, which is one of the things that people found out wasn't a good idea, I think, at some point, because you could get 4 people to just log on, level, and you just rotate them through this one character, right? And it was, you know, they probably didn't have the stuff, the infrastructure to really do anything about it. And so you just have these really huge unfair advantages of people dominating other players.
Okay.
So it was a shitty game, but you know what? It was my youth until I got into WoW in like high school. But that being said, I've been doing MMOs for about 20 years. It's been a long time. I've been doing a lot of internet games, a lot of different things to try to keep myself entertained throughout my youth. Man, it's been a long ride. Really, really long ride. So when I look at video games today, though, it makes me kind of sad, right? This is stuff I grew up on. This is stuff that, like, I got used to. This is like how I had fun, enjoyed it, how I proved myself to the other internet losers, right? Everyone on the internet's a loser, by the way. So this was something that was really depressing to see, kind of after I took like maybe I don't know, I sat down one day, I started thinking about, well, what's the state of MMOs in the world? We have Fortnite. That's probably one of the most competitive games out there right now, right? And that's a massively multiplayer online game, technically.
But is it an RPG?
It's not an RPG.
After the last video game awards, I'm not certain anymore.
I mean, it's kind of weird. Things have really changed a lot, dude. And it's to me, I started reflecting a little bit on kind of where we are with Final Fantasy 14, and so I have a pretty solid opinion, and I think we all kind of have solid opinions about what the state is of the genre. And so I wanted to kind of just dive into it with some people who I felt like were pretty appealing, pretty active MMO RPG players. You guys remember that? By the way, that website still exists, right? MMORPG.com.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they still produce articles and everything.
Yeah. I remember thinking that was just like
I
a
remember that.
half-ass thrown together site that like kind of threw stuff on a list, and it was there.
No, I know some of the people who have done articles and have worked on that website. There's some good people. They do a lot of article work and a lot of coverage.
I would, you know what? Maybe I need to get those guys on and talk to them about it, because they would probably have some thoughts of their own. Because it's weird. Final Fantasy has been one of the top MMOs on that site, right?
Often, yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't pay too much attention, but enough to I think so.
Okay. Okay. So we already talked about your history here. Sorry, I went a little bit off on a tangent here.
Oh, a tangent on MogTalk.
Yeah. What do we do?
How unusual.
Yeah. So let's talk about it a little bit, because we have all of our histories with MMOs and everything else, and we can kind of see the genre changing a little bit, going in a certain direction. Where are we going? What's MMOs, RPGs? What's this turning into now? What kind of world are we expecting when we say MMO RPG in today's standards? And anyone can pick that up.
I know Arthars likes to get it. He needs to get that energy out.
I guess all right.
I'll let him take the helm on that.
Okay.
Okay, what MMO was and what MMO became, right, is something that I don't think any one of us who have been playing MMO have actually thought about how it would become today. Now, don't get me wrong, though, it's still okay though to play as an MMO though. But for me personally, coming from Assurance Core and then play Dark Age of Camelot, play EverQuest, wanted to play World of Warcraft, but because Final Fantasy stole me away from that very key moment, that 12 years. Coming from that to this, I kind of feel like, wow, how did MMO become like that? And then the more funny thing is, what else can we expect? There is nothing better. Nowadays, if you want to throw, MMORPG, what should I play? What are you guys playing? World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14. Right now, World of Warcraft is not, even World of Warcraft itself is not the same World of Warcraft as before. Now, Final Fantasy 14, if we don't talk about 1.0, by itself is kind of like a new MMO that started out like that. World of Warcraft didn't start out like that, but now even World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy is kind of like almost the same. And these two, right, is the best MMO we have these days. Now, I personally find it very weird that I have to say this. When people ask me, Arthars, what MMO should I play? I'm like, it's either WoW or Final Fantasy 14, man. Not because WoW and Final Fantasy 14 is good. It's because right now there is nothing better out there. Now, am I happy with Final Fantasy 14 the way it is? Let's just say, okay, I don't mind playing this until the next one. Will there be a next one? I don't mind playing this because there's no other one. Will there be another one? I don't know. So right now I'm in a situation where I have a lot of complaints. I don't like how it became, but how MMO became like that, and then now we are only being able to play MMO like this way, casually, weekly lockout, weekly restriction. Just you cannot even grind fully anymore. Even Eureka doesn't let you grind. Even though some content in WoW or MMO doesn't let you grind, doesn't feel like the same as before. Now, my feelings are very mixed though. That's why I also wanted to hear like how you guys feel about it. Like, yeah, go ahead, please.
I've kind of, you said you didn't think we'd kind of see where it was going, and I think as soon as WoW launched, I kind of started seeing it. Because before that, I had friends who would, play Ultima Online and stuff, and I just kind of watch over their shoulders. And I played Korean MMOs. That was kind of my first outing, I suppose, when it came to MMOs. And so I was literally like, oh, so every MMO is kill 8,000 enemies for a third of bar of my EXP, right? Because that was my only experience with it at the time. But as time went on, I kind of saw how it was going, because I saw the market of MMOs being more, I guess, widely accepted. And the more widely accepted a genre is, the more popular it is amongst more people, the more it kind of has to fit that market. And so I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't see it going all the way to this point. I'm kind of mixed too, to the point where I do actually need 2 different MMO experiences in my life. At the starting of the show, you saw there was a clip of me playing 11. I would never want to go back to 11 the way it was necessarily, but it's a keep me busy kind of thing, because I think that's why I got into MMOs in the first place. It was almost my excuse to not buy other games, save money, and just be super invested in the one thing. And then with 14 and 11, I just split my time between them nowadays, because it's two completely different MMO experiences. Even if one of them's modernized a ton, like 14, and one's only modernized as far as it can really be because of technology purposes. And I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the MMO genre as a whole. There's a big question we'll come to later that I guess I'll kind of dive into it, but there's just so many more choices. It's just a question of quality with each one, and I agree. Well, I think ESO is doing a much better job now than it was years ago, and I think it's going to reach kind of equilibrium with 14 and World of Warcraft in the next year or two if they keep up the pace of the updates they've done. I'd otherwise say, you're either playing WoW or you're playing 14, or maybe you're into Blade and Soul or Black Desert or one of those. But just keep an eye out for the next thing, because the old school is trying to come back, and that's going to be, at this point, that looks like what people are trying to make the future is the past, and I'm interested to see how that ends up panning out. Okay. I wasn't actually thinking about that.
For me, it seems like it's just going down. It doesn't feel like the past is coming. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm just off about that.
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
So basically, I think I was talking about how I felt like the genre was devolving into a simplistic form where people could come home after a day off of work and just go through a story. That seems more of what it seems to be going towards. And everything, it's kind of like, I'm going to use Reddit as an example. When you go to Reddit, you want something that will entertain you immediately. You don't want to read a post. You don't want to watch a long video. You don't want to do anything. You want to go there, click on something, and be entertained really quickly and be done. I feel like that's the kind of mentality we're leading towards with MMOs, right? That we're going in there and we want to say, all right, I can easily just kind of go through this, click on this, and then I'm entertained and I'm done. That's kind of my perspective on how things are turning and how things are changing. Am I wrong to think that?
Well, no. I think we were just making an interesting point before that, like the old school is making a resurgence.
So where is it resurging?
They're trying to like recapture old school because of what the new school is doing.
Yeah, the new school is making a lot of older gamers extremely nostalgic. But I don't think that's going to be like the future of MMOs is that we're going back to the roots. I think that's probably just a temporary trend.
Right. Because old people are dying, so why would they go with the...
That's true. Yeah. That's true. I'm dying. You're dying. I mean, you're probably going to be dead after this show.
Yeah. Well, if the stream cuts out again, I mean...
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's Frosty. So that's one less old school fan. Yeah. I think that when we want to track the trajectory of where MMOs are going, that is like an important note. I think it's got a lot to do, again, with World of Warcraft. It's got to do with the fact that World of Warcraft launching led to the homogenization of the genre. Before WoW, a lot of MMOs were trying to kind of find out like where the golden nugget was, basically. And WoW kind of stumbled onto this like tab target, I guess, system. And that massively homogenized the genre and produced a lot of, MMOs that changed to be more like WoW or were produced to be more like WoW. And I think what we need to examine now is whether or not we're seeing the decline of World of Warcraft, because at least in the way that we're talking about MMOs at the moment, a lot of people think that WoW is in decline. And a lot of people are responding to that decline saying, well, we need to invent something new. We need to invent something. This casualization that you're talking about, I think that that's something that people are trying to capture and find out what exactly that is and how exactly that looks. But at the same time, we're seeing this trend of increased specificity, where it's no longer good enough to have an MMO that tries to do everything, because then it's not going to do anything as well as one that is being, far more like targeted and specific.
Right. I mean, you're right. WoW did make a pretty huge stain. I mean, I grew up with WoW. I loved WoW. Like, I mean, I gotta tell you, like, during the first iteration before the expansion came of WoW, I didn't really do a lot of the in-game stuff. I didn't go too far. I was just getting to 60, and then eventually Burning Crusade came out. And so when I got into Burning Crusade, I started working with other people. I started playing, getting into guilds, getting into big groups of killing stuff, and we didn't complete everything. We didn't finish the storyline. We didn't go to I think it was Black Temple, and then I forget what was after that. There was one other one. Sunwell, right. We didn't do that. We got to the Snake Lady. I forgot what that was. It was something.
Serpent Shrine.
Serpent Shrine, was that it? Yeah. So
it's longer than that, but I can't remember the rest.
Yeah, and so we got to that part, and I wasn't upset. Like, it wasn't a big deal to me. I felt like I was progressing, and I could do more. And the people who got there, awesome, that's really cool. But I never felt like that was a bad thing. But now it seems like we feel like that's a bad thing, though, right? If you can't complete something.
I'd say it's more and more viewed that anything that people can't consume content-wise in a game is generally wasted resources, is kind of the outlook. And you see that with anyone who kind of views different content different ways. People sometimes would view, using 14 as the example, ultimate or like higher tier savage fights. You know, it's only a small percentage of the player base that finishes those things. So how worth it is it really, you know? And then you have things like, you know, the gold saucer, which, yeah, I can go there and there can be 200 people trying to jump up leap of faith all at the same time. But you could ask someone else to be like, why would you waste your time on that? Make me another savage fight. And everyone has an idea of what resources should be spent towards, and no one can satisfy everyone. It's just impossible.
I mean, no, that's true. Go ahead.
But I feel it, I mean, I'm like opposite from you guys. I didn't play WoW, although I was waiting for WoW. I played 11, and then after I played 11 for quite a long time, I went into some I went to Ion, and then after that Final Fantasy 14 came around. So when I played Ion, I was like, wow, this is actually not bad. This is not bad, right? You know, you do your quest, you get your level, but then you stumble across something, you still have to grind some gear. Then you unlock the level quest. So I felt like that was okay. Then when I go back to play WoW at some point, right? And then when 2.0 came around for Final Fantasy, right? Although it's kind of the same, like you do X amount of quests, you get X amount of XP, and then you reach the next level. But it just felt like, although the process seems similar, right? But there's still something missing. A little bit of grinding part seems missing. Now, I get it nowadays that, like you say, people just want to lock in, you know, chop, right? But that takes away the leveling fun. That takes away before you reach the end game, right? One of the reasons why now we only talk about end game is because before the end game, now again, we are just speaking about maybe small percentages that cleared, all right, just cleared. But I feel that anyone, right, when you play, let's just say you play WoW these days, or you play Final Fantasy these days, or maybe other MMO these days, I'm not sure. You are already guaranteed max level already, right? So compared to like some other MMOs back then that almost adopt the same, even WoW as well, vanilla WoW, I played a little bit until 50 Rogue. I felt like it wasn't like this. You still grind a bit. You still have to do dungeons a few times. You have to get gear. You still have to spend 2 to 3 days to get 2 to 4 levels sometimes. Depends on how much time you put in. It was never like you're already given. Nowadays it's given. So nowadays the stop is you finish leveling and then you should be doing endgame. But there's only so many people can clear, and then the other people don't want to try. So it kind of makes it like the gap is huge, you know, people who want to do it and people who don't want to do it. That's why people is like, oh my God, I don't want to do it. Why do you bother? It's waste of resources. Oh my God, we can do it. Why don't you? You guys are the waste of resources that, you know, golden, like for example, golden etc. is made. But I feel, right, if MMOs were to stay, I don't want it to stay. Obviously, I still want it to evolve. But sometimes, you know, staying a little bit, like grinding a little bit, isn't a bad idea. At least those people who doesn't want to grind, right, they can at least have the satisfaction of, say, leveling or invest time to get there, right? And then when they get there, I feel that they will feel more like attached to their character. Like, oh, I already reached this far, I might as well do more. Nowadays, Final Fantasy 14 is just, you got that level, you do whatever the fuck you want. Nobody cares. If I can't do it, I wait for the next level, right? I wait for the next expansion, next level cap, right? Wait for the next job, right? But a lot of Final Fantasy 14 players do not know that they can actually do Savage. It's not because only we are able to clear, but it's because you don't want to try. And I don't understand why people don't want to try, because getting level 70 is free. What else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? I don't know. I really don't know. So this is something in modern MMO, I don't understand the mindset of our current player. Now, we're bringing back aspects of old MMO stuff, make this change. I don't think so. I also don't think so. What if tomorrow, let's just say the Final Fantasy 11 that I started out playing, roll out tomorrow, fresh game. We have no memory of Rise of Zira. Will we play that? Will I play that? I myself don't even think I will. So, I mean, I will, but I'm not going to put in that much effort that I did back then. So now we are in a very weird situation where I don't know what is the next MMO going to be. I'm waiting for the next MMO. I can't wait to see what is the next MMO. I want the next MMO to be different than 14. I want the next MMO to be different than WoW. I want the next MMO to be there to stay, even though it's not made by Square Enix or made by Blizzard. But I don't know what to expect. Like, what do you guys expect? I really don't know. I have no idea. Where are we going?
Well, I mean, Ethys, did you want to respond to that with anything?
Are you suggesting, Arthars, that maybe we're focusing too much on the grind now? Is that it, or not enough on the grinds?
Right now,
there's not really grinds in existence. I think it's more
grinds in
the thing. Yeah. It's instant gratification.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I agree with that. And I think that's a response to the fact that we, as players of MMOs, decided that grinds are fucking boring. And back in 2000, 2001, if we didn't want to sit down and grind in a game, there weren't really that many other experiences for us in terms of MMO, video game experiences, partly due to technology limitations. But the thing is, now it's we sit here and grind. We're like, what? Why am I doing this? There's so many other things, so many more gratifying things that I could be doing than this right now.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why I said
Destiny before.
And now that's why
it's not. But the structure around the grind and everything about the MMO has been unable to sort of adapt to that change. It's we're still trying to produce Endgame that's classic MMO Endgame, but it's not supported by that, days and days and weeks of grinding and consolidating your character in preparation, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. They don't want the grind anymore, but then having Endgame that you are able to. Now, I'm not trying to tell everyone that you should clear it, right? But because that grindy part is not there anymore, like I said, I don't want that grindy anymore. I don't mind a little bit, but at some point I'm going to be I don't want to do this anymore, right? I already done this for 10 over years. Really. Something's going to change, right? They changed what they are today, which is fine. But this developer, did they see? Okay, back then when this developer made the game, like you said, you have to get that level to do something. Now, if you cannot even get there, it's boring because there's nothing to do. Now, that was what they want us to do back then. Now, today they changed to, we give you this. You
God damn. Guys, hold tight.
bring back. Oh, shit.
No, it's good. I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know how to remove myself without... I don't think I can kick myself, can I?
No.
Nah, you'll peace out.
It'll end the meeting.
Okay.
Arthars, do you think that maybe because of the removal of the grind and that really long experience of kind of learning the systems and consolidating your character, maybe new players don't feel prepared for Endgame?
Yes.
Maybe they look at Endgame and they're like, well, I was doing this for free and now I suddenly have to start trying. What do I do? But the thing is, we are expecting and wanting players to kind of take a little bit more responsibility and go out and do their homework and learn how to play the end game themselves, because that's an option that we can do now that we couldn't do 20 years ago. Now, if the game wasn't handing you something and you weren't receiving information from the other players like immediately around you, it's pretty hard to like get hold of information and learn how to, learn how to play your class properly, learn how to do the fights. YouTube wasn't around. Guides were not really a big thing apart from, massively long like forum threads. So again, we're giving players what they ask for and then expecting them to take some responsibility for themselves in terms of making their own experience. And people are just not very good at doing that.
No. That's what I'm wondering. So what is going to happen? What are these developers, what can they come up with to push?
Well, that's like $1 billion question.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. And I don't think there's any one thing. I think 14's kind of the reason why it's surging in popularity and WoW's kind of crumbling is, I mean, look at what's causing WoW to crumble. It's causing it to crumble? RNG, single-minded content development, stuff that can't guarantee any progress. Things that back in 2002, 2003, literally I would have expected everything to try and slow my progress down in ways like that. And, with classic WoW coming out, it almost feels like those ideas are there with stuff like Titan forging and the way that loot works now, but people don't want it anymore. And it's hilarious because like when I've been making this comparison, Final Fantasy 14 player sees our gear with our stats and says, oh, it's straightforward and all the stats are the same. And meanwhile, World of Warcraft people are like, wait, you mean when I beat content, I get loot? No way. Like it's gotten to the point where like it's that people want sort of this guaranteed progress as everything's vying for your time. And it's hilarious to me that there can be such varying opinions about every individual thing, and everyone who doesn't find their like 10 to 15% scope of the game, that everything else is a waste of time. And I think the reason why 14's kind of hit that kind of surging popularity is because people can log in for just their own reasons. And while, yes, maybe you're less invested in the character than you would have been 10, 15 years ago with an MMO, you're invested in the game because it's always there and it's working on things that you're interested in. It may not be something someone else is interested in, but you're interested in it. So you hit this broad scope that is what you kind of need to hit right now. And anyone who wants to compete with it on a WoW scale or on like a hundreds of thousands of subscriber scale kind of needs to hit that too, or they need to accept what they're capable of and fill a niche, which is kind of how the MMO market started, was a bunch of niches until WoW modernized everything or forced people to modernize.
Do you think maybe the difference there is that while 14 is very consistent and consolidating the way that it produces content, WoW is sort of trying to radicalize and trying to adapt at the moment? And everything's sort of up in the air at the moment. Because I feel very firmly that the reason MMOs are in such a kind of tenuous state at the moment and why no one can really say for sure where they're going is precisely because, do we take it as self-evident that WoW is going downhill and that it is sort of starting to fracture and lose momentum?
I think it is.
We all agree with that.
Because new players, why would a new player play WoW right now? Why would the kids, the new generation, why would they play WoW at the moment? What's bringing them into that? I think the only thing that's holding on is nostalgia. That people wanting to get into WoW because they love the universe. They grew up with the universe. Blizzard's this huge universe that these guys were super huge fans of, and they want to go into it. But now that respect for the company has been falling for a little while now, and it's starting to just kind of, the old guys are getting tired of it, and the new guys, they want to do their dance, right? They want to have their little emotes and stuff, and jump out of an airplane or a bus or something. I mean, it's different. It's just different what the ones are.
Let's be honest, man. Let's be honest, man. Even WoW, right? Not just WoW. Yes, WoW is definitely declining for sure. It is. And let's be honest, Final Fantasy is going to reach that point. This game is 5 years already. How many of us have sat down here, right?
8 years.
Since 3.8, okay, including
No
1.0.
one counts that.
Okay, yeah. Let's just say around Reborn onwards, 5 years already. Okay, we are going to the third expansion already. How many more expansion, which is usually come in 2 years? How many more 2 years before we sit down here and say it's the same? It's the same. Now, Final Fantasy 14, be honest, has actually since Heaven's Word has almost been the same. Now we might see content be slightly different. The Diadem become Eureka, Relic Quest from this to that, Raid change team, with the only exception for Ultimate. But even this game is kind of reaching that point already. I think WoW reached that point a very long time ago, but because it's Blizzard back then, they did a very good job in other games that they are so reputable, right? That I mean, let's be honest. One of the reasons why Overwatch is still a thing is because it's made by Blizzard. If it's not made by Blizzard, for example, that game is already dead. I don't want to say that maybe WoW is like that, but even for big company, for big MMO like WoW, we are already seeing things going down kind of quick already. A lot of people in chat tells me that Classic WoW is coming back. Classic WoW is not going to make you play more WoW. It's just going to bring you back a while. It's going to just let you think about what it is. Like Happy says, 10 years ago, you want that? Trust me, when Classic WoW come in, 2 months later, you'll be sitting here. I don't want this shit anymore, man. I'm going to go back and play normal. Because not just the game become like that. Not necessarily it's an evolution, but this is what we are... I want to say forced. This is what we are made to play now. How 14 is, how WoW is, right? But is this enough? Even for Blizzard, it's starting to not be enough. Even for Final Fantasy 14, hitting the 5th year mark, next expansion, 7 years. I don't see. We know, right? I don't see Final Fantasy suddenly change things within the expansion. Once the expansion keynote or major, when the expansion drop, when things are like that, it's gonna be like that. That's 2 more years. Is it gonna be big change? I don't think so.
Being the same expansion after expansion was not the...
Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. It's about to do it.
After expansion. What made them start to decline was
Shut up, Ethys. He said hold tight.
No. You're good. The video. I just saw it failing. And I was like, all right, here we go. Keep going, Ethys. Go ahead.
So I think that WoW's consistency, producing the same kind of content expansion after expansion, was not a problem. Their numbers were strong. Their numbers were increasing. The problem was when they stopped being consistent and they started trying to reinvent the wheel and kind of radicalize the way they were producing content, that players were like, whoa, what the fuck? Why is this happening? So I think that as a result, if 14 keeps producing the same kind of content, it's going to be fine for like another 10 years.
Yeah,
it's
but
not,
that is
people are not going to suddenly jump ship. It's only if
because there's no other ship. That's the thing. Because there's no other ship. There's only WoW ship and 14 ship. So if we were to talk about the future of MMO, right? If nothing comes in to make something new, or if they themselves doesn't, let's be honest. I think WoW and Final Fantasy 14 is like hypothetically back the scene, shaking hand like, yo, you do what you're doing, I do what I'm doing. We're gonna be the two best friends ever. Yeah, that is the problem. I feel it's a problem because I think we deserve more. Although it's very contradicting, right? What I'm about to say. All of us want something more. All of us are looking for something, but we do not know what we are looking for. So will somebody come out? Yo, developing MMO these days is not easy. 5 years.
That's exactly. No one knows how to build a ship anymore. Again, exactly. They see the WoW ship sinking, which was the ship that everyone was replicating for the last 15 years. And now they see that sinking and they go, well, how the fuck do I build a ship now? Blizzard.
Exactly. Where's the
ship?
I think the problem is everyone wants to build the same ship. That's the problem. When MMOs first came out, it was you didn't need to be a 500,000, 600,000, 1 million, 2 million subscriber game. You didn't need to be that to be considered successful. You needed some consistency, you needed a community, and you needed content. That's all you needed. You didn't need to be the you didn't need to build the same ship as everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't think we're necessarily going back to old school, but I think we're going back to it being the same amount of people or more playing MMOs, but you have some people going to ESO and some people who play BDO and some people who play 14 and some people who play. And it's okay to not be the multi-million subscriber game. You just pick the one you like, or maybe the ones you like, and rotate between them when you get bored of one, because that way there's something new for you waiting on the other one when you're decided, okay, I'm done with this one. And that's what I see. That's why MMO hoppers it's such a common thing nowadays. Mm-hmm. People go, I'm done with that game, playing this, and then something else comes out for the old game. Oh, maybe I'll check that out again. Mm-hmm. Like, it was talking about games going back to niche communities.
Okay, yeah, niche communities.
And MMO hoppers kind of being the future of the the MMO generation, where you don't just play one, you're just kind of committed to the genre overall.
Yeah, no, and I think that's not a horrible kind of formula, because even if you only have time to play one MMO, that's fine, right? You just pick which one you want to play, and if you need more, you can stack it up there, and you're paying, that monthly fee, or you're paying in glamour items on MogStation, whatever the equivalent is for them. You're doing what you do to enjoy that game, or you play single player games. Go ahead.
Also like, game these days, I think even console games, right? I think every game did a good job these days in their multiplayer capability. Like, back in our days, right? We solely play MMO for the social interaction, just to know people online, like swing a sword with people online. I think that experience was very unique. And I think today you don't need an MMO just for that anymore. Like Happy says, right? We are in, how 14 has become, I mean, not just 14, how MMOs have become in general. We don't really need to dedicate. Like Frosty said, it's not a bad thing. I personally enjoy it because now I can play other games. I got downtime to try other games. Not like when, one of my 11 was one of the best MMO experience I ever had. The 11, 12 years, best. But also because of the 11, 12 years, there's a lot of things I just could not try. Like, for example, FF12. I couldn't have time to try FF12. When FF12 came out, right, it was like a peak for Final Fantasy 11. The Seekers of Treasure of Arthars
2006. Yeah, Treasures. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. I can't jump in, and then Final Fantasy Tactics came out. I can't really jump in. I'm not sure what the fuck I was doing that time. So there was a lot of things I couldn't do, like Dark Souls as well, because when I play MMO, I came out from console, right? Back then, console is just you sit in your room, you play with yourself. Nobody knows. Back then, we have no Twitch. Back then, we have nothing. We have no YouTube. No, not even Facebook. So coming today, right, I feel like a lot of those maybe social experience that people were looking for in MMO back then now doesn't need to be really solely look for in MMO. So maybe for MMO companies, they feel like making it this way so that people can get in easy or whatever. Like, I don't have complaints about that. It's just that if we were just talking about MMO, right, something is definitely missing. But overall, I think I can agree. Like, I don't mind. I don't mind at all how MMO became what it is today.
For me, it's you don't need the game to connect anymore, but the game is a vessel with which to connect. Like, because I used to need to log into an MMO to be a part of a community and to be like, maybe you go to a forum or something, or someone's got like a TeamSpeak or a Ventrilo, and you don't need that anymore. If you want to be a part of a community, you may play the game, so there's like commonly aligned interests there. But I can just go to Discord and talk with those same people. I don't need to be on the game at all. Like, the game is an irrelevant factor for me in the social experience. I'm just, and that's just how it is for me. It's just not required.
Well, that's not just for you. There are so many people in the 14 community that are not active subs, but still are super active on Discords and forums and subreddit and showing up in stream constantly. That might not have played the game for like 6 months.
No, yeah, that's actually a really good point, because I'm the only one here who probably has any kind of thought process on the PvP community in any way. But like when we talk about PvP, there's people who have unsubbed from the game, don't literally do anything with the game anymore, but they love to sit there and just shit talk and just get in the Discord and shit talk with everybody. And eventually they come back and they play for a little bit, then they'll maybe leave again. But we've already built this community, right? We've already have this whole community where we all talk to each other. We all secretly wish people would stop using Resident Sleeper every time we talk about PvP. We all like, you know, it's we have our own little Discord that if I didn't have that community, if that didn't exist, we wouldn't be playing that content. If we weren't able to talk to each other and discuss everything, I guarantee you that that content would be 100% dead. With a lot of things in the game, that's what Final Fantasy XIV really is. It's just a community of people who are excited about games in general. They're not just excited about Final Fantasy XIV. It's just that commonplace, right? It's that where we came, and that's where we met some of our friends at, and it feels like that's what the only thing that is really holding together 14 is not really the content they're producing, but the people who just want to talk to each other and have one connection.
I don't think that's the only thing that's holding 14 together, but
Well,
you're right that that's a powerful.
Oh yeah, not the whole
powerful
only thing. You're right, but it's definitely, if it wasn't there, it'd be Final Fantasy 14 would probably be discontinued if that didn't exist. I don't know,
But it only exists because of the way 14 develops in the first place. I think you can't ignore the source of, you know, how it got that way in the first place, you know?
right? And you know what? That doesn't exist as much as it used to. Back to what 2.0 was. The game's completely different, is it not?
It is and it isn't. And I think that's kind of the point, because it feels like everyone always wants radical change, but nobody really wants change at the same time. And I think that's kind of going back to the decline of WoW. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Everyone's like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. But as soon as it's radically different, the people who, you know, wanted it to be different are like, I don't like it. And the people who were okay with being the same were like, well, now it's not what I like anymore. Yeah. And it's literally, you can't make everyone happy. So you need to please the majority above all else, which is why you have this, you know, more casual approach to MMOs in the first place, because they may not be the people who are subbed 12 months out of the year, but they're the people who log in happy, log out happy, and come back every time there's something they want to do.
Okay. So you're saying that, like, right now, Final Fantasy XIV is doing a pretty good job capturing the majority of interest.
Yeah, I mean, and not all at the same time, because I think that producing content of all kinds is its biggest strength, which obviously if you have that many different forms of content, you're reaching the majority. They may not all stick around. Like I said, they may not keep their sub 12 months out of the year. They may only sub 6 months out of the entire 2 years of the expansion. But you know what they do? Next time the next Savage Raid tier comes out, next time the next Ultimate comes out, next time there's a new story patch, next time there's more glam to get, they look at their interest. They're like, oh, it's time. It's time for me to resub.
Right.
They always come back.
You know, it's the best to say, right? For Final Fantasy 14, right? If it's not broken, don't fix it. I mean,
there's a lot of broken things. If we really got into that, there's a lot of content that ends up broken. It feels experimental with Final Fantasy 14, and it leads into something else. And so,
but it doesn't take away from the things they've been doing. Like, we don't have less raids. In fact, we got the 2 extra ultimates. We don't have Gordius or Midas anymore. And Gordius in particular, I wouldn't exactly complain about. You know, we don't have a raid. You know, the first ever raid tier for this game didn't work for 2 months. And the game came back from that, you know? So it's like they're still doing everything that worked. And then they're like, well, throw in something here, something there that's like not really the norm for us. And that's fine, because that person still can look at me. Okay, they didn't cancel the next story patch, did they? Oh, they didn't cancel Savage, did they? Which is why Ultimate being canceled was a big thing. But the reason behind that's unrelated to other content. So it's hard to really judge it properly.
Yeah, well,
it's kind of
good.
It's kind of oxymoronic in a way that 14 does produce so many different kinds of content, because we know, at least anecdotally, that so many games that have been developed in the last 5 or 10 years that have tried to spread themselves too thin and tried to do like too many things have always failed when facing up against something that just does one of those things with more focus, more specificity, generally with a lot more polish as a result. So I think 14 is like really, really unique in that they do produce so many different kinds of content, and each one of those are arguably, competitive with everything else that's out there that's similar. And I think that you've made a really good point, Mike, with again how reliable and how consistent those types of content are in their release schedules. While we might only be interested in 6 months of content from a particular expansion, we know historically when that type of content is coming, and that it is coming, and that it is going to be appealing to us because of that consistency, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, that's also an interesting point to talk about, because funny enough, I can relate this to fast food pretty easily, right? And so you might actually, Arthars and Ethys might not know this as much, but there's a couple of a lot of restaurants that seem like they're starting to pop up in America that focus on one food item. For example, you have In-N-Out. It's one of the most popular food chains. It's huge. But it focuses on just burgers, right? It's just burgers. There's a couple of different other restaurants that are doing that instead of having this huge variety of menu, but they do it so well that they become super successful. And
wait, saying that In-N-Out does burgers so well?
They do really well for a fast food burger. What's wrong with you, Ethys?
Maybe American fast food's just shit. I don't know.
It is. I'll give you that.
Maybe.
I'll give you that.
So when we look at a lot of different pieces of content, I guess going in that whole realm of discussion too, when I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 and I'm leveling up my character and I'm saying, hey, I'm eventually, this is me. I'm a paladin. I'm running around. I'm going to go out there and show how good of a paladin I am. I'm going to show how great I am at this character that I have made and I created and I leveled up and I've learned how the abilities work, and I can apply that to content. The thing that has been kind of bothering me for a while is that doesn't really exist, because then we just get things, all of our work towards our character doesn't really mean much, because we just go into something like Palace of the Dead or something else. It's just like you go in there, whatever, you just level it up in a different way, and it feels odd. And then you have gold saucer content, right? That's not as appealing because it doesn't relate to your character, to me. But there's tons of bits of content out there that all of my work towards building up this character to save the world, it doesn't really mean anything.
Dude, you gotta mac and relax, all right?
I guess. I don't know. It's the same reason why I even brought up the story conversations, because I'm making this character and I'm trying to make him into a position to where I can go out there and do some good in this realm of Final Fantasy 14. But I feel like I don't have to try for that. I feel like there's not effort in any of effort. We kind of hit on a little bit. Effort in this game hits ultimate and it hits savage to a degree, but everything else, it's like it feels effortless grinds at the most. It's just participating, being there. And to me, that's the one thing that has been really disturbing me with being happy with MMOs, is that I feel like, I guess back in the day, I played video games. It's like, yeah, video games are good for you because they challenge you. They make you think. They use they use your brain. It's better than watching TV. It's better than going out there and watching like so-and-so fixes up a house, right? And the same generic copy paste thing every single episode. I'm applying my mental power to achieve something. I mean, it may be virtual and not real, but I've done something. Now it feels like I'm just watching a TV show. I'm logging in to watch a TV show.
No, you watch the TV show and log in at the same time. That's what did Netflix and Eureka. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
you entertain yourself with two things at once, because that's what you need to nowadays with the way how accessible entertainment is.
Right. But does that not bother you guys in any bit? Are you completely content with the way the difficulty is now in Final Fantasy 14?
Okay, it definitely bothers me, like for sure, right? But at least, right, I still have 4 Savage and an Ultimate, at least. So, rather than saying, am I satisfied? Let's just say I have to make do with this. because this is what they give us. And they already removed the part, like I said earlier, they already removed the part of you. They already didn't make you feel very attached to your character and your progress on the get-go already. Not just Final Fantasy 14, right? Games nowadays, right? Just get to your highest level bracket. You have opened up more content that you can do, but most people don't choose to. Like for 14 in particular, Savage and Ultimate. So, hey, you know what? If you don't want to push yourself to that, it's fine. At least you are still in the game. At least you still see the story. At least you still progress patches or expansion later. This is what they want us to do. Now, if I am put into this situation and this situation only, right, I would lose my shit. I would be playing something else really. But at least Final Fantasy 14, like a lot of people say it's only one Savage, it's only one Ultimate, it's only one fight. Overall, you can only say it's 5 fight. You know, people don't even count Primal as a fight these days. But, you know, I kind of agree with you guys, right? It's consistent. At least I know what I'm getting. At least I know I'm not shortchanged. Am I satisfied with this 5.5? Fuck no. But I'm scared that, I mean, I'm happy that it's still there. But do I want more? Yes. Will I get more? Probably no. The most that we can get in 5.0, right? The most, right, is maybe a big maybe third one. I still believe there will be a third Ultimate, but I think that is the most we will get in 5.0. Will I want more? Does the community want more? I mean, I can speak for myself. I'm pretty sure Happy will also say, fuck yeah, give me one more turn 5. I don't mind. But, you know, for the others, right, this is what basically not just 40, but and every MMO want us to put in, want us to be in. Be there. You don't really need to get involved, but they just want you to be there. Now, you know?
Okay. Ethys, what's your thoughts here on kind of how they handle difficulty within Final Fantasy 14?
I think it's fine, honestly. I don't have a big problem with it. I think that maybe I'm more patient than a lot of players, but I'm quite happy to get my 4 Savage and Extreme Primals. I mean, Siri was an absolute joke. Got him down in like an hour. But my expectations are not that high. I don't want to live in an MMO like you did in 2002 where you couldn't play anything else. You know, I like the idea that there's plenty of weeks, maybe most weeks, where I only need to log in once or twice and I can still stay invested in the story and invested in the world, but I'm not going to, you know, fall behind by doing other things and playing other games. You know, I really like that. That suits my lifestyle. It's a different kind of lifestyle.
Same,
and
yeah.
The lifestyle required of MMOs to be able to play in-game content and MMOs 10 years ago was a lifestyle that I couldn't sustain, and subsequently I didn't really play much in the way of MMOs, or I wouldn't stick around. So I think that the casualization isn't necessarily a bad thing, provided that we do still get challenging experiences for those of us who want it, again, in a reliable and consistent pace, which I think is what we're getting.
Okay.
Yeah. I echo a lot of those sentiments. You know, I actually, this expansion, I gotta admit, I've been pretty pleased. You know, Faust was a big thing in Heavensward. You know, caused a lot of splashes early on, especially with Gordius. And as much as it's again become predictable, you know, I actually really like, you know, having stuff like Omega MNF turning into, you know, Omega God, whatever you want to call him. You know, it almost feels like I have a 5th fight, like at this point in Savage, you know, even if it's 2 fights wrapped into one and one's not all the way there. I would love more Savage content. I'd love more Ultimate. I think we're going to get 3. Yoshida made it pretty clear that after Uwu released and they saw the demand when they had already canceled the 3rd Ultimate without telling anybody, that, you know, they realized their biggest problem was too late. They'd already made the decision to cancel it, and there's no way it would have actually been out before 5.0. So I think having heard that feedback, you know, I think we're going to be a lot happier with the status of things in Shadowbringers. I look back to how exciting everything was for every patch up to 4.5, which is the only one that's kind of fallen a little short in terms of excitement outside of the main scenario quests and Ivalice. And I think of how much better the general reaction's been over the past couple of years until now, with Blue Mage and people getting at each other's throats over that and the lack of an ultimate. Like, and Shadowbringers, I don't see that going backwards. And that's great, because I also don't think they're going to go backwards on any other aspect of the game. Maybe we don't get exploration content, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be any more of a problem than getting it would be, because getting it was its own sort of problems as it was in just, I don't know, man. I just want to play video games. I don't care about how long my gear lasts. I don't care about, anything but having fun. And when I stop having fun, I go do something else, and I come back when there will be something I can have fun doing.
I mean, I
just want to play video games, man.
Okay, for me, right, as much as I have more demands, but I got to be really admit, compared to 3.0, right, I really do feel like Heaven's Word is a step up. I mean, okay, let's not talk about just quality of content. Let's not compare Diadem to Eureka. Let's not compare Palace of the Dead to Heavens on High. Let's just say one for one. Story there, the dungeon there, exploration content there. Not necessarily better, like Happy says, not necessarily worse, but it's there. One for one is there. Raid is there, but we get it additional. We get ultimate. I actually do feel that we are getting more, although I can say it's not enough. Although I also agree that not having enough. Dude, I'm very contradicting today, man. Fuck. Like,
you don't want.
Yeah, like not putting so much time into this game makes me enjoy something else. But I want more, but they are actually giving us more, but I still want more, but I don't think they will give us more.
Put that on a shirt and sell it.
Fair. I mean, I do feel like there needs to be more ways to challenge kind of the people who do want challenging content. I feel like there's not enough of that in the game, and there should be carrots that people can't get. I mean, Ultimate's definitely one of those, I guess, in its way, right?
Palace of the Dead solo is a big one. Heaven on High solo is a big one.
That's because it's not optimized for
it. It's very limited in scope to what you can do. I remember, dude, when the Bard soloed Heaven on High, I was super impressed. I got mega lucky and they admitted it, but like, it was still really cool to see people accomplishing that, even if it was only really possible on one or two jobs.
Yeah, I mean, but these are ways we're making for ourselves, right? These are challenges we're making for ourselves, like Xeno going and doing an 8 warrior Titan extreme, right? We're finding things.
One warrior Titan
well, now, I mean, back,
No, level 60. That's I referenced that the other day. I think that's one of the like hypest solo moments we've ever had in Final Fantasy 14. Like, it's way more hype than the Palace of the Dead Souls and stuff. It was great.
But Square Enix is not like putting anything to say, hey, if you want to try to challenge yourself, you could go do this. It's just like, you guys are going to have to be creative if you want to be challenged. So we're challenged to challenge ourselves, right?
I think that's fine. Again, the problem with old school MMOs is that we couldn't go to YouTube or Twitch and see this kind of stuff, right? It was really hard to kind of find things like this. But now it's easy. Like, if you want to find solo challenge content, it's really easy to find like what it is and how to do it, and go take a stab at it. You've just got to, again, take it in your own hands and not expect to be spoon-fed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good. I would say that I definitely do not want people to expect to have to be spoon-fed. That's my biggest gripe. They can going out and doing, like, right now. I guess I could put one example to that too. The jumping puzzle in Kugani, the tower, right? You finish that, you get your sightseeing log. That was the challenge. But we're like, all right, what can we do to take this a step further? Let's jump on the light post. Was that anything that was even remotely intended? That's just some way that we're like,
They added a sightseeing log, so it was clearly intended.
Well, I mean, off the top of the building to the light post, lamp post or whatever. There's a sightseeing log on the lamppost, right? I don't know. I don't have it unlocked.
That's the only way to get to that. Or now you can blow yourself up as a blue mage and have someone else who did it res you up there.
Yeah. I kind of think even though there's ways for us to do this, that we should have some incentive. What's the harm in throwing in like an achievement for soloing an extreme boss? What's the harm in throwing in like achievements for doing these little things?
That would be great.
There isn't. There is nothing against it. Yeah, it's my biggest complaint is our achievement system, honestly. And Blue Mage, of all the things people can say yes or no about, the one thing it got right is the first time we've had interesting achievements ever in Final Fantasy 14. They actually legitimately parse every action you take and determine a condition that you've met. And they said that they didn't have the technology to do it. I want that in dungeons. I want weekly challenge dungeons that make you do these stupid off-the-wall things that make it so I can do something different every week with these dungeons that have been the same for years.
Yeah, but I guess this one has been covered a lot of times, right? But 1.0, don't you think, although 1.0 we only have Aurum Vale and Carter's Cry, right? But even 1.0 had those already. They already passed our action as early in 1.0 already. Like, what did you do in the dungeon to trigger 5 chests instead of 1? You know, like, I mean, if I remember, if you open all chests in the dungeon, that is 1 more chest. You do the dungeon in 20 minutes, that's 1 chest. You kill a specific mob in the dungeon, that's 1 more chest. You just kill the boss, that's 1 chest. And then another final chest is if you do the sub-boss with a specific action, then you get another chest, right? Like, for example, in Carter's Cry back then...
You had to kill them at the same time, yeah.
Yes, right?
Well,
so they've done it before. So
those are
like you say, why now?
So those are that's a lot, because parsing is action to action, whereas those are like you kill mob and it kind of triggers a response. So it is a good bit different, and also I'd imagine the engine changes probably did that a lot. But I honestly think this whole score screen with everything at Blue Mage, I think that as much as I'm like whether or not you want to talk about Blue Mage is one thing, but this score screen should be on every single piece of content with all these unique achievements and giving you sort of unique challenges and there should be applied to everything. Imagine if there was, that score screen at the end of St. Motion Arboretum hard mode, and it's, do the last boss without ever performing an action on the slime. So that means the slime's going to grow and blow up every time. All of a sudden you have to approach that entirely different. It's a minor example, but having additional goals like that is like making content without making content. You know what I mean?
It kind of make things intentionally difficult, although not everyone wants that, but yeah, it makes things more interesting. It's like, creating not something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I want that.
I mean, it's not difficult. I can't say it's not difficult to implement. I can say it's something that would not hurt the community. I think even with putting a developer that's on this and just they go through the code and figure out, all right, how do I get this to calculate? How do I do this to add this extra challenge to content? How do I make this more entertaining for people who do want more challenging content? And I think finding these little ways to do it would be appealing overall. It doesn't have to be a completely new savage tier or like a brutal tier or something like that. Although it's in my mind, that stuff doesn't seem difficult to implement if you don't care about balance, which doesn't matter, I think, at a certain
That's
point.
not the problem, though.
Right.
That's not the main problem is, though, when you put in things like this, is that gonna be a reward? I think that's the carrot. It's not about, oh my god, I beat this because I don't do this action. Now, it would be great if you don't do the action, but you get reward. I think that's the carrot everybody wants. Like, for example, the Blue Mage thingy, like if even the 1.0 thingy, like I mentioned, the 1.0 gives you 1 chest, but the 1 chest dropping that Dark Light gear, right, is 1%. So even if there's a carrot, some people would never get it. That's why a lot of people chose to just fuck it. Even in 1.0, people just choose to fuck it. Like, it's a good system. It also adds to achievement, right? Like killing the Marshal at the same time with the Marshal spawn and add. I don't remember their fucking name. Like, it's an achievement. But it gives an end chest. But the end chest don't really give reward. So eventually people also complain that it's too much effort for 1%. So again, I don't think this is the main reason why they remove it. But now that, for the Blue Mage segment that Happy covered, now they actually bring back, they can do it. They can give an achievement. They pass your action. Will we see something like that in 5.0? And let's just say if they do it, but if they don't do it with any incentive, will we sit here and say, hey, that's a good piece of content. Can we sit here and say that's a good piece of content? So I think they need to find a very good balance if they want to implement something like this.
Right. No, I think that if adding incentives is going to be a really good idea. And people, for some reason, are so opposed to things in the game being locked behind stuff they don't want to do. Like, you can't... I'm trying not to get started on it, but I mean, do you know how many people have complained about PvP rewards every single day?
I love that PvP rewards are as unique. I love that PvP rewards are designed like that.
And
the way that
I don't play PvP, but I mean, it's their exclusive reward. If you really want it, you go for it. If I don't get it, or if I cannot get it, I can't blame anyone, right? So
except yourself.
We come back. Why does the game has to reward you? The game put a reward there to reward you, but you don't want to get rewarded yourself. So how can you complain? It's the same for raiding, right? The game prepare you. Okay, the game didn't really prepare you. The game do absolutely fuck nothing to teach you to play the game. But the game gave you a level 70 character, right? Like you are supposed to learn primal and then take the next step into the A. Turn 1 and turn 2 is not difficult. I think any casuals out there who don't want to raid and complain about raiding shouldn't be there because it doesn't cater for you. Guess what? It's actually cater for you, but you do not want to do it. Just like the PvP reward is there for you, but you don't want to do it. Now. Fuck PvP, all right? So that's my fault. I can't get a reward. So I can't blame anyone else, right?
Right. And I think that's what
if something's not important to you, why is the carrot important? If the thing that gets you to the carrot is important, why is the carrot that important that you feel the carrot needs to be put closer to you? I don't get it.
Yeah, and that completely blows my mind as well. Because I mean, if I relate this to Savage content and everything else, and people say, "Oh, I hate there being this kind of difficult content in here because I don't have enough time, I don't have enough whatever." I'm like, well, that's not really an excuse, because if you don't have enough time, that's fine, right? Then you just don't do it. But 6 months seems like a very long time to find a couple hours here and there to go through Savage content. It just seems so like people find these reasons and excuses for why they don't want to do something, and they're trying to find the easiest way to a solution of getting something they want without doing what's already there in front of them. I mean, I understand if they don't like raiding, and that's fine, but don't like kill the value of it. Like, to me, again, if we go back to like story in the game, I feel like making a story so easily accessible kind of makes the story feel less important to me. But
I want the raids tied in with the story, personally.
That would be fine. I think normal mode raids is enough for anyone to be able to go through. All right, anyone could do normal mode raids. It's so easy.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
But the thing is, I would like a story to be related to Savage tier difficulty too. Some story that says, all right, well, you can't clear this story. It doesn't have to be the main story. It could be a side story. It could be whatever. But I'm saving the world, and I'm putting my strengths together to do it, and you feel like you actually did something and achieved something at the end of it. I don't feel like I achieved anything.
Coil.
Yeah, like Coil. I feel like if we could have, and that was, of course, the Coil is the reason why that doesn't exist anymore, right? Because so many people complained the main story was inaccessible, or well, to them it was kind of the main story. It was inaccessible because it was too difficult. But if we had a story like Alexander, where it's goblins and no one gives a shit, why can't that story be locked to? I don't know, Savage. Go ahead, Ethys.
Don't talk poorly about Alexander.
Yeah, go ahead, Ethys. Go ahead.
This is a big fan.
I'm just saying that I give a shit.
Okay.
I very, very much so give a shit about the goblins, and that's just me, and that's fine. That's all right.
But I mean, is there any reason, since it's not part of the main story quest, that has to be, the story can't be a reward? Completing it can't be a reward?
Well, I think the idea of having the normal mode raids is so that casual players have got more to do. But they only do it once, and it only takes a couple hours. So
casual players need that gear. They don't do it more. They definitely do it more than once. I know people who will run one 15, 20 times in pugs just to get that shaft at the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a crafter friend. I mean,
yeah, they don't have a crafter friend. Maybe that's just their only avenue to loot at that point. Like, I know people who that's why I've stopped talking shit about normal mode. Because I remember I opened my mouth once and I was like, oh man, I didn't realize how many people actually cared about normal mode.
Well, no,
Whoops.
there's a lot
So
of
it's less
people.
about pandering then.
Go ahead.
It's not so much about pandering and making sure the carrot's closer for people, so much as it's making sure that you've got content that's accessible to both casual and hardcore players without having to spend a bunch of resources in making all new assets, right?
I mean, I suppose. Do you not feel like more people would do a Savage tier difficulty if a story was locked behind it?
Fuck no, it makes no difference.
I don't think there's a relation. I don't think there's
I don't think
I think it's more
affects a lot of people
gratifying
do
for
it.
me, but I don't think it convinces anyone to get through. If you
Yeah.
don't want to do difficult content, you don't want to do difficult content. It's like between playing through Kingdom Hearts on easy, which a lot of people do because they just want to see it, versus playing through it on critical and you hate yourself the whole time, but it's what you wanted, so it's what you did.
So
Yeah.
are we saying like, and this is a horrible, crappy comparison, but I'm going to do it anyways. Are we saying like if I played Mario
You're not
Galaxy,
playing it for the
right?
story.
Or Mario, whatever. I'm going through that game, and I felt like, oh, well, this is too difficult for me. I just put it down.
Yeah.
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 You don't
that's what it
like
is.
try to achieve anything. You don't try
So
to say,
I-
how do I
a
get
lot of
past this
people
next?
We will, but a lot of people weren't. That's why MMOs, not just 14, felt the need to separate everything. Like okay, if raiding were to be, okay, let's just say normal mode. If normal mode were to be in story, right, I would love it. I think people would love it. But there's also going to be people that is like, dude, I just want to see the story. All I want to do is make sure I'm ready for 5.0. I don't care about my gear. I don't care about whether I clear Savage. 5.0, maybe, just maybe I will look into it. Probably not. And then we'll say the same about 6.0. Hopefully nothing is locked. But some of us will see it and say, yo, it will be amazing, right? It will prepare everybody. It will prepare me. It will motivate people, right? But that's not how they see it, And I don't think, I don't think that they should do it. But I'm so fucking contradicting today. God damn it. Like I don't think they should, but I want them to. Fuck, man, fuck.
No, I understand your feeling. We want people to play the game. We want the game to succeed. We want good things to happen for the game. We want people to be able to access content and do things. But we also want to have fun, and we know how we have fun is going through content that challenges. A lot of us here, at least, we want some sort of difficulty in front of us, so we feel like we achieve something at the end. But we also understand the feelings and emotions of a lot of people that we talk to every single day, which are casual is such a weird word, man. It can be defined in so many different ways. A lot of the best solution is time-wise, is this person has less time they can spend in this game, so that makes them more casual. But I mean, in the end,
No, I don't have problem with casuals, man. My only problem with casuals are the one that complains.
oh yeah, the
like-
casual toxicity, which is something that's completely overlooked.
A lot of people think that I'm toxic because I hate casual. I don't
You
hate
just said
casual.
you don't
I
hate
just
casual.
Yeah.
Good.
Like Frosty is a casual.
Yeah.
All right? Frosty is a casual, right? But if you got the chance to try a Savage content, you will. Now, again, it doesn't matter whether you clear or not. The fact that you want to, you take your time. There's a lot of time. Ultimate is an optional content. I'm not saying that you will never try it, but you might not. But the worst is those that don't even try anything and then complain that that content is wasting, say resources because, dude, why are you making Ultimate for 1% of play, blah, blah, blah. Those are the worst. I have no problem with casuals,
You just hate the toxicity that people who lead kind of a casual playthrough can often bring. It's weird because you usually associate toxicity. People say, "Oh, your parse is not good enough" or anything else. But there's a lot of people out there who are really toxic about people who want to do good.
It's
The tryhards, right?
Toxicity is defined by overexpressed negativity and
Right.
nothing else. Doesn't matter what it's about.
And so it's so crazy to see the vast range of. I mean, it makes sense, but it's crazy for me to envision the people who literally hate playing. This is an actual comment. Is that why do I have to do content where I have to depend on other people? Play this game.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And then there's the other comment is, why, if I'm going to go in there, I hate playing with other people because they suck. Everyone else sucks. And that's the only reason I hate doing MMO content. I only have so many hours in a day. I don't want to queue up randomly with 4 other people to go through the main story quest, or 3 other people and clear the content because they suck. They're going to make me waste time. And I've seen this kind of stuff, and it's really weird to see this casual toxicity versus the other side of the scope, which is completely opposite. Like, I need hard content. Anyone who complains things are too hard or, dumb little bitches is kind of like the comment that you'll see. And it's do we all play Final Fantasy 14?
So my favorite one that I've seen is I want an easier Savage, and I'm like, yeah, we call that normal, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know, right? People is like savage is too difficult. Yeah, that's why there is the word savage there. Like if you want if you want a cheeseburger, there's cheese in there. You know what I mean? Like, it would be great if the cheeseburger doesn't have cheese, dude. Then you just order a hamburger, right? Like, dude, what the fuck? What else do you want? Ultimate is too difficult. Can we not have an easier ultimate? Yeah, maybe Savage.
Easier ultimate I've seen a lot because people want to do like, they want to experience that like 19-minute fight, but they want it to be easier, and I'm like,
no.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
And we have this huge, vast array of opinions and these crazy, weird little divides, I feel like, between different people and how they think the game should be developed going forward. Which I guess I don't know. Do I remember seeing other MMOs kind of having the community talk like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just depends on how much you pay attention.
I guess I didn't pay attention to the other MMOs. I don't know. But it's huge, and it's very relevant to all the people who subscribe to Final Fantasy XIV. And I guess listening to you guys talk a lot today, I'm not as frustrated, I guess, as I was before. Because, I mean, in the end, Final Fantasy XIV does cater to a lot of people, and, you can just log in and do the things that you care about, and the other stuff is side stuff. You know what's funny? And as Arthars was saying, I'm a big advocate for challenging content in the game, but I haven't even completed this tier's Savage, right? I haven't even done these things. I just know that this is good. To me, it's good to have challenging content. It's good to make it more difficult. I haven't completed it because I haven't really joined in a lot. I'm actually using, it's funny, I use Savage as something to do with my wife. So, okay. I mean, it's something that I do with content for...
I'm totally opposite. I do not want to do Savage with my wife because she sucks, but okay.
right. And see, yeah, that's completely different. And I do mostly PvP in the game, which is a super huge niche. I would say 0.0001%, right? So why cater to these guys? But I feel like having competitive aspects to the game, not just in PvP, but leaderboards like Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, these things are good because it promotes people to go out and challenge themselves and push themselves and stuff that they would be doing, which is really weird because Blue Mage, they have scoreboards.
But there's no leader. I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
And that's really strange to me.
Redundant.
And I feel like they should do these things maybe in other parts of the content because, I mean, it adds repeatability and people are happy challenging themselves. And the people who don't want to do it, it's okay. Good.
When I was watching State of the Realm, right? Happy made a good point at the end of the show. He was saying that so they pass all the action, right? So rather than put on the DPS number straight up, might insult people because of the low number, why not say how many AoEs you done and because of your performance, what rating you get, how can you improve the next time, any suggestion? I'm like, and I think that's a good way to improve player base. I mean, the casuals. At the same time, try not to offend them. It's fun. It's fun. Hey, the next time you don't want to do AoE, that's fine. You get lesser score. Maybe try harder next time. But I think that's like a good way for them to.
Well, I mean, a lot of
implement something like that.
They're kind of opposed to it. For example, so to use this as an example, that's why parsers don't really exist in a game, and kind of the reasoning we've had is I think there's toxicity behind it, and they've kind of veered away from it. But I mean, it's not just Final Fantasy XIV. Everyone here, Happy, you played Monster Hunter, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we've all played Monster Hunter. You know, at the end it says so and so did this, right? You have a little achievement about what you did, but it doesn't compare you to the other people, right? It doesn't say you did this, they did this.
Some are fucked up though.
Yeah.
Some are fucked up though, like the number of slingshot,
Yeah.
okay, it's fun, right? It's fun, right? You know there is this achievement that you can always get, the slinger achievement, number of slingshots landed, right? So sometimes when you go in, right, you just do it for fun, even though it doesn't really mean anything. But when you see something at the end, you're like, yo, look how many shots I made, you know? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's which is weird because I would like to see how many slingshots the other dude did, right? And so you have no reference in how good it was. You just have, here's something you did good. You don't have this person's better than you. And I feel like that's what's being avoided a lot within maybe even the evolution of online video games is we're taking away competitive aspects, which seems strange.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, I agree with your statement.
Right.
I don't agree with that trend because I mean, you don't need to. You can, if you want to be competitive about something, you can be competitive about anything. There are people who are competitive about how quickly they walked from one location to the next and realized, it only took me 4 minutes to get it. I know it took you 6 minutes.
Right.
You know, some people are just like that, but it just doesn't. They're going to be that way. It's not Square Enix's job to police us. It's their job to provide us the content. No, it's not their job to police. If they really wanted to police us, they'd ban people who use ACT just because they don't want to throw in a parser.
Right.
It's not their job to police us. Whether you're using it for self-improvement, I mean, that's kind of like how I felt with Blue Mage, too. It shouldn't be their job to police who has what actions in regards to going into a piece of content. It's it's not their job. They're never going to have complete control over it.
I mean, they should. They're never going to have that control. But if someone's like at the end of a dungeon said, "Haha, you stupid little casual nublet, you did like half my damage." I mean,
all right, that guy's an asshole. Move on.
I mean, and that should be true, but
it's not because people are sensitive and they have emotions and shit, and I get that. But it's still not their job. That guy's gonna do that anyway. He's just running ACT instead. Who gives, like, you've done nothing to prevent that. If they want to not provide the tools but not police it, but the tools are already there, just only a certain number of people can do it, and you're completely negating anyone's ability to use it for improvement or for the good of their own content, for their own enjoyability. Like, you won't do a result screen because maybe somebody else got a better score on one of the things than you, and they laughed at you. Come on, man.
Right. And then you block them, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
Look. There's a difference between allowing and enabling competitive nature in your players. I think that there is this sort of inverse correlation between competitiveness and toxicity, and that you see in a lot of games that actively encourage its player base to be competitive against each other. It takes a lot away from the social experience, and I think that maybe the devs are really, really conscious of this idea that they want a game that is inclusive, and they want a game where, you know, everyone gets along more or less, and that is more important than anything else. And that, you know, they can allow stuff like ACT to go on. They can allow these competitive tools for, you know, the hardcore raiders to use. But if they start integrating it into the game and they start really encouraging all players to be competing with each other, then it will lead to more division and more toxicity.
So encouraging players to do better is kind of, it turns into a bad thing because other people who are already doing better makes the people who do not as good feel bad?
The simple fact is that encouraging players to do better does not make them play better. If players want to play better, they will learn and they'll find the tools and they'll do that themselves. All it does really is just make lazy players or players who don't really care about improving. It just makes them feel bad and sort of, you know, draws a target on their back for other people to point at. I just think that we need to look at the priorities here and the fact that Final Fantasy XIV is a social game first and a competitive experience second, right?
Well, I mean,
I think competitive's way under second.
yeah, competitive is
Way
really
right.
far away. This is more of like a chat MMO. I'd say competitive.
But you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's the most important thing is the social lubricant, basically. It's way
Social
more.
lubricant.
Please don't ever call it social lubricant ever.
There's a lot of social lubricant going on in a few areas in the game.
Please don't do that.
So no, I can see that, but then it feels, I don't know, it feels less like a video game to me. It feels less like a game. It feels more like, again...
Well, it's not entirely a game, is it?
It is. It's a video game. I mean, what?
Yeah, but MMOs have always been more than a video game. They've always been like not quite like video game isn't quite the right way to describe what an MMO is, and that's always been the case, I think.
I mean, I suppose, yeah, it could be defined as like a community, or like I don't know,
journey and experience. Everyone, but that's the beauty. Everyone kind of takes away from an MMO what they want to. For some people, it's a community. For some people, it's a video game.
Unless it's not there, right?
Unless it's not there at all. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And I just we're making it okay, I guess, to be lazy and not try. That's kind of what we're doing, right? It's okay to come in and not put effort towards being at a level that helps other people's experience with that game. It's okay to just
not expect any carrots for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're still going to get carrots. There's lots of carrots for that. Tons of carrots. I can lie dead on the floor for most of the content that's in this game, outside of 5 to 6 fights every 6 months. And so
that's why at the beginning of the show I told you today I wouldn't be yowling much, because it is what it is. Like it all depends on who you play with. If you expect people to do better, don't expect it from Parks. Don't expect it from anyone. Maybe expect it from your friends. Maybe expect it from your static, but don't expect it from everyone. Likewise, the same, right? Like content, if it's not made for you, it's made for someone else. That's why I said I don't mind. But don't be the other side that complain, because I think as much as people, casuals, are as unhappy as some of us because we are toxic or because we want more of this content that doesn't suit you, on the other side, which is us, who also feel the same. But like, this is what MMO is some people play for the story, some people play for the raid, some people play for the experience, some people play for ERP, right? I don't know, but it's all fine, but it is what it is. Just kind of expectation goes down, but I also like the carrot, right? I also like that high horse that other people don't have. When I kill something, I got this exclusivity to myself. But back then we do that, but now 10 years later, the lifestyle we have taken, how MMO become, you sit down and say, dude, to be honest, right, even if you had that X factor, right, versus this casual who didn't even try, right, like, let's be honest, the casual didn't care. The casual wouldn't care whether you have the legend title or ultimate legend title. The casual also doesn't care whether you got this glowing weapon or not. The casual probably care about, say, a mount, a minion, that you care about your weapon, so it's what it is. It's like a fragmented community that we have right now in MMOs in general, but I think it's something that all of us just have to accept these days.
So do be a casual, but don't be a bitch.
I mean, it's the same. You can be an elite, but don't be toxic. Like you guys also say earlier, right? Like, if this person do X amount of pass, X amount of DPS, don't go around party finder and like, dude, your DPS is like half of mine, get good. Like, dude, it's not gonna accomplish anything. Now we all know that he's bad. It's on the passer, you see it. If it's on stream, I catch it, we make fun of it, fine. That's all it is. I'm not gonna be like hating him and never gonna play with this guy, go and tweet out how bad he's. Okay, although sometimes I do that, but we try to not do that, right?
So does the future of MMOs to survive, does it need casual players?
I mean, that's what it looks
like.
Yes.
If
For
you
now,
want,
yeah.
if you want this quality of an MMO, absolutely. If you want something that is designed to be like played by 20, 30,000 people, the product's going to reflect that. But if those 20, 30,000 people are happy, you're profitable, great.
Okay.
It's just don't expect it to be the next AAA MMO that is the, as we used to call it for 10 years straight, WoW killer. It's not what it's going to be.
So on the flip side, for future MMOs to survive, do they need hardcore players?
Probably not.
No, I think niche community. I think if you're going for that niche community, you absolutely do. If that's the size of your community, all of them need to be hardcore. You can't, because odds are new people aren't coming in as often when you have a super niche community like that. But if you want to be massive, like some of the big hitters are, you don't need them as much. You need a few of them, but you don't need, like, they're not your majority.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's there, and it's, oh, this guy's cool. He's really good at this. It gives us something to aspire to, if we want to aspire to it. But I mean, if the vast majority of the players are only wanting to log in, get rewarded, and talk to their girlfriend that they think is a girlfriend that they have, and they're not being catfished from halfway across the world, that's their life they want to lead. That's fine. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to see the games turn into just like this whole casual world, right? This whole huge casual world of...
Frost, are you being toxic?
God damn it, man. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am known as toxic for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm considered that way. I feel like I'm a pretty nice guy, but fuck people, man. Like, why do I have to be, okay, I want games to go in a direction to where we're still challenging ourselves. And this gets into a whole nother level. This is a whole nother fucking level that we're dealing with, like, on a society scale, right? We're talking about, it's okay because it's profitable to reward people for not trying. Why is that okay to teach people? It's okay to be rewarded for not trying. I mean, I understand people are out working, they want to relax, and this could be a relaxation MMO, but why are we turning to, and this is me thinking on a much broader scope than an MMO, but why are we developing this? Because it's profitable? Is that why? Is that the only reason why?
Okay, when you ask that question, right, Frosty, think about 14 for a second. When you say, why are you rewarding people for trying? Now, think about Final Fantasy 14. What did these people who didn't try, what did they get rewarded for?
Almost 99% of the content that's in the game. So they get the story, they get most of the gear that exists. They're limited by just a couple of bits of carrots, a couple of little tiny, maybe they have some shredded carrots, right? And it's a shredded carrot that's over on the side. Most of this game, again, you reward it. There's only a couple of things that you're not rewarded by.
Okay.
But how are those rewards, though? I mean, I don't see it as a reward. I just think that they are behind.
Reward.
Yeah, it's not a reward. It's just...
Yeah. That's where... That's
not a carrot. Those are crumbs.
Every other form of entertainment that's fighting for your attention nowadays, you make money off of whatever you do. You've got some spare money. Maybe you go to a movie. Maybe you treat yourself to a nice meal. The work was your life. And the way you spent your money is now your reward. And I think that's where MMOs have kind of moved and are still kind of moving, is once that dollar has been paid, your reward is what's on the other side of that dollar. That's why cash shops are so prevalent. That's why, we have so much content available to everyone who pays the sub, because that's what it takes to compete in the entertainment market now above anything else. So life's the game. Life's the game, and your reward is what you spent your money on. Life's the grind. Yeah, life's the grind, and the reward was whatever you chose to spend your money on.
Okay. Maybe I want my reward to be more challenging. Maybe that's what it is.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, everyone wants different things out of their experience. Literally, I mean, that's kind of how we started the show, was, establishing that. But for the majority of people, their reward is, when they sit down, they've spent their dollar, that they just enjoy what's in front of them. They're not concerned about the carrot. The game that they sat down and played, that was their whole carrot. They
Okay.
keep making carrot anagrams and everything. That's it. They're
I
enjoying
love
it.
carrot
They're
cake,
enjoying their
dude.
carrot.
I love carrot cake. I gotta say it.
Life is Pagos, and everything else is the relic at the end.
Okay, fair enough. So Final Fantasy 14 is really our relic that we're doing. We're coming in and we're just trying to enjoy it. And it's trying to make it enjoyable for all of us. I guess that makes complete sense to me. That does.
It makes sense, but I will say that doesn't mean you have to accept it, though. I don't think anyone should just outright accept it if they don't agree with it. Just that's just how it is.
Get a different carrot. I mean, if I really wanted to, yeah.
Because I think 14 is balanced for everyone to play. Just that some of us want more, most of us want more. It's just that there's a lot of people who are okay with how it is, right? Like I wipe my ass with okay, right? But I want more, right? But a lot of people think it's fine. So it's like it's balanced, but it's a game that could go either way. I think World of Warcraft tried and went the wrong way, especially this new expansion. I mean, I played Legion. I wanted to play this one, but a lot of people tell me, nah, don't do it. This is actually worse. I'm like, wait, really? It's World of Warcraft though? How can it be much more worse? I don't know. But maybe World of Warcraft went the wrong way. 14, I think it's still balanced. Like I said, I don't think it's broken. I don't think it needs to be fixed. It's just like for you, right, Frosty, you want more, right? For me, I want more, but I think it's okay. For you, you want something more challenging that doesn't want to reward the other people that I honestly don't feel that they're actually rewarded. I feel that they are okay with what they have, and I think they should try to reward themselves. For example, like I said, you don't have to clear all 4 turns, Savage, turn 1 and turn 2, I think it's for everyone. Like, maybe people don't even want to step into that realm, but I feel they should, and I think if they were to do that, I think maybe the developer will take another stance. Maybe things will be slightly harder if a lot of people, every casual would move to that direction, right? Maybe the game will up its quality. Maybe it will be something people eventually want. But right now, how it is, I think it's also one of the reasons why they don't change anything, because it just works for every. Okay, there's no other competition as well to make them have to change anything, right? I mean, I didn't know, right? Again, I didn't know WoW is tipping on the wrong side, right? I thought WoW is doing fine, right? But now think about it. No one else is doing. No one else. I don't want to say no one else wants to do something better. I think no one else dares to try something. That's why 14 is staying put what it is. It's fine, right? 4.5, 5.5 fights. It's okay.
14 isn't just competing with MMORPGs. It's competing with so many other things that are vying for people's time and money investment. Competing with every other video game, particularly every other video game with a social aspect, which is so many more than was the case 10 or 15 years ago. Like 14's competing with Fortnite.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
in like a very real way.
So
I don't think that Square Enix is in some kind of apathy of, oh well, there's nothing else that's competing for the attention of our player base, so fuck it, we'll just keep doing the same thing. It's more the thing that we've been doing has been attracting players, and they're picking up what we're putting down, so we should keep doing it and keep trying to do it better and better each time. That's what I was saying. Like WoW didn't lose its players or start to decline based on repetitiveness, based on doing the same thing over and over. It lost a lot of traction when it decided to start trying to do something radically different to what it had been doing before.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I mean, if we go to WoW and kind of when they started changing and radically doing things different, I mean, we're talking about like a generation now of like differences over the MMO's lifespan. But like when I started playing it, I had my own things that kept me in the game that were social. There was challenging stuff in there. And then they started to do these weird things where they started to, I say weird, and it all goes back to casualization, making things accessible, making things easier. One of the things that bothered me the most, and this is today is normal. This is something that is absolutely normal. But I would play, and before you would shout out in like a major city, hey, I need a tank to do this dungeon. I'm looking for a tank to do this. Or you would have friends that you would depend on, or you would have a guild or whatever. But then they implemented something similar to Duty Finder, right? And so now, instead of having to work with any kind of social aspect in the game, you could click a button and get into the content with just random people. Which is go ahead.
Okay, this is 50-50. I think I know what you're trying to say. This, like, I enjoy running 15 minutes to the entrance of the dungeon, sitting there, shouting for people to join my group or make a group together or wait for people to invite me to their group. I enjoy that, right? That is what we used to do before. Now, today, if you want me to do that, fuck you, man. I just want to dude, I don't want to run an expert dungeon just shouting for 4 people. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like even for Koi, back then we just stand on Wine Pot. Back then we shout. Back then we were in North Shroud, we shout. Back then when we were in Northern Tanalan, we shout for groups. Because back then we didn't have PF. Although we still have the DF, but we didn't have the PF. I think that is okay, but I think most of us who did that probably also have some sort of complaint idea. It's still too slow. I just want to get the raid done faster. I think this is something that, I mean, it's just how technology is. That's why I come back and say in the early, a lot of people keep talking about Classic WoW. Trust me, when Classic WoW comes out, when you have to do this thing all over again, trust me, man, you're going to shit on it. You're going to want back PR. Now, I know what you mean. I miss that. I also miss that because that was really... I have bonds with all the people that any single people that I partied with, I have bonds with them. Tomorrow when I appear at the dungeon entrance, he sees me, he's gonna, oh shit, it's Arthars again. Yo, you're waiting for a group? I miss that. Nowadays, you don't need it. Nowadays, who needs friends to do Praetorium? Hey, FC member, anybody wants to help Praetorium? Man, I don't want to see cutscene for 1 hour. Just go PF it, right? You know what I mean? Like, these are things that I know kind of destroy our social experience, but I don't think you can help it. And I think that social experience can come from somewhere else, like in your
ERP, right?
Online community.
Had to go there, Frosty. To go there.
Like, what else is there? What else is there in this game?
What else is there?
Come on, for social aspects. For social aspects,
or you just have sex online. Whatever. Yeah.
Right. No, like right now, if you wanted to find someone that, I'm gonna dive into this. Why the fuck not? If you wanted to, I don't really know this because I don't do it. But if you needed to find someone who ERP'd, you have to do a lot of work. I think you can't just put it up in like Party Finder, right? You're gonna like go out there and you're gonna like find some resource. You're gonna work out. There's not a duty finder for ERP.
So much right now.
Like,
yeah, it's like trying to find a party for a dungeon back in the day.
Right, no, exactly, right, yeah. And so you have to go shout around, you have to have a known area. So there's a lot of these little social aspects.
Are you saying ERP, if ERP had a duty finder, that it would be ruined? Is that what you're saying?
Probably.
Are you saying that if we had Tinder on our little Allegan phones that we got from the thing, that's it. ERP is ruined if we had a social aspect of ERP. Is that where this conversation
exactly? All right.
Let's stay away from ERP for a second.
Let's remove it away. Let's remove it away. Go back to kind of what I was talking about here. So part of what I was upset about this function being implemented was that it felt like I was a tank. I felt like I just lost importance, right? I felt pretty badass back in the day. I was like, I'm a tank, I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'll join your party, you'll love me, you'll probably friend me afterwards so you can do more parties with me later. Now I was replaced.
Talking about dungeons or ERP.
Come on, we were steering away from it. Come on.
Well, this is all about your ego now, Frosty.
Oh my God, Jesus. Back at WoW, right? Going back to WoW, Wrath of the Lich King, they implemented Duty Finder where you press it, you click in there. I enjoyed the aspect, and I was upset that they did implement a way to make it where my importance felt less important. Even socially, right? I felt like socially I was pretty important. People needed me. People wanted me to be in their parties. I had some weird value. And this is all when I, going through emotional issues as a young child in WoW. And I'm going through all this stuff, and I felt like I lost it. Then it developed into Raid Finder. Then it developed into all these other things to where we don't really need these social aspects of this game anymore. We don't need this stuff.
No, we do, but it's another form. Like, okay, I can tell you, right? The amount of friends I had online, Okay, I'm not sure whether we can call them friends. Maybe they just want you to tank for the dungeon. Maybe they don't care about you at all. But they do want you at that point of time for specific content. Every MMO we used to play is like that. But although nowadays I agree, 14, I don't have any more friends. Okay, that sounds sad. What I mean is I don't have friends in game that actually needed me to do something. Like, okay, during Gordius was as close as it gets. Right? Hey Arthars, can you help me turn 3? Hey Arthars, can you help me manipulate? Because that content was actually fucking cock blocking you. Anyone? People actually need help for weekly clears. But slowly, the content casualized. Slowly, you notice that PF can do this. Slowly, you know that RF can do this. Even PF can do this. You don't need to shout anymore. You don't need to specifically cling on certain character to do certain content more. That's fine. I think it's okay. Because now we move on to the social aspect move out than just the game. Like we have Twitch, we have Discord, we have forums, we have Reddit, where we talk about, people making guides. Like Happy doesn't need to join every PF to teach you how to do the content. He can just make a video. You can just look at it. You can just go to his Twitch
it'll
channel.
be wrong 2 weeks later, but you raise a good
Right.
Right? He can just go to his channel and talk about this. Like you can, like Frosty. When we talk about Frosty, right? PvP, right? But we talk about like you are still relevant, right? Your PvP cast, you're still relevant, right? We are not going to just start forget you, but it's just that the medium changed. Back then, we don't have this. I don't remember some of the games we play. I don't even know whether Facebook exists. I don't know whether Facebook exists. I don't even know Reddit exists. I don't even know where people exchange information. We could only do that in game. Nowadays, we don't have to do it anymore, right? Now, if you feel that you're lonely now in game, maybe you need to join a community or something. I just feel that the social aspect in MMO, right, is no longer within the game itself anymore.
I mean, think about this.
More than that.
It could be more than that, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Let's take this into a perspective, because we all have like this different perspective than the average Final Fantasy 14 player, I would assume, because we stream Final Fantasy 14 and we talk to people on Twitch. We have tons of people who come in our chat and we talk to them and we have interactions and so on. If you remove that part of the community, if you remove all of that and you just had your regular Final Fantasy 14, do you feel like you lose a lot of value of the game?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, but that's not what we live in. I mean, we can make hypotheticals like that, but that's also just not how it is.
Yeah.
If we were to go back and we have to rely just on the game, right? I'm pretty sure we wouldn't even have this show right now. Right? We could actually be gathering. We could actually be gathering at the Aether ride with everybody standing around us. We would be talking via chat. Then that would be the super nice experience that you wanted. Having guild meetings in freaking houses and then typing out. That was what we lived in. I don't think these days we need it. But we don't even need people to be locked into the game. We can have FC meetings on Discord and things. So I think it's just what we have now in our time. I think we have to settle for this. I don't think it's bad, but
I think we'd find that if we didn't have all these extraneous social resources that we have now, like Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Discord and all that, if none of that existed, if we were in a situation socially like we were in 15 years ago, then we'd probably find that 14 would have progressed in a way that facilitated a lot more of that kind of stuff, and like it would be easier to do that kind of stuff in game. Like we'd find that there probably would be hopefully some kind of like voice chat in game. If we didn't have tools like Discord, the game would have to sort of
accommodate,
I guess, make up for that. So I remember on the DF issue when ESO first came out, it had nothing like a duty finder, and they were basically justifying that by saying, oh, well, we want players to feel immersed. We want players to feel like they have to go to the dungeon and they have to just like find other adventurers that are around and all that. And like, a lot of people that are nostalgic for the old MMO experience thought that sounded really cool, but it was fucking awful. It was so bad. And so what people had to do is that people had to use like third-party websites to form to do like duty finding. They had to basically like mod that feature in again, because it's not like, this was 2015. This isn't 1995. Like, we have Discord, we have Twitch, we have Twitter, we have all of these resources. Why the fuck would we not want a party finder? Like, that's so stupid. So it was terrible. But you know what? If we didn't have Discord and if we didn't have Twitch and Twitter and YouTube and all these things, then yeah, we'd probably still tolerate going and standing at the entrance and making friends that way, because that's the only way that we had to make friends. Like Arthur says, like, we don't have to do that anymore to kind of scratch that social itch that we want from MMO communities.
Yeah, and I can
Again, man, that's why I come back again. Warcraft Classic, people thinks that it's gonna be great. It
will be for a couple of months. It'll be
it will be.
They're gonna do something. They're gonna end up modernizing it in some way, and the people who really, really want it to be the old way are gonna complain. But it's still not gonna be enough like what everything else has. I don't get me wrong. I don't want it to do bad. I'm so low on hope that it even remotely survives after however much time.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. And you guys are all right. I mean, these aspects we could never go back to, ever. It just, we're so far past it. We're so used to having these things at our fingertips in different ways that, like, if we went back to those different times, it felt good memorizing this thing, thinking about, remembering the way it used to be, because it felt good. It had its own values, but now we just have this whole different way of looking at how MMOs are, and they're going to continue to evolve. We're going to continue to want more conveniences. We're going to continue to want different things, and how these games start to evolve and either become less about, I guess, the social. It feels like there's less about the social aspect within the game itself. Then it's going to continue in that trend. It's not going to keep promoting people being social within the game, right? You know, it's funny. It was brought up in chat too. How many of you guys use the mobile app?
Nope.
And that was bound to be a disaster from the second they announced.
Yeah, we didn't need that.
Yeah,
I mean, Japanese
because
maybe.
we have Discord. Why like in Japan they have, I forget what the name of the communication, like, because it's not Discord, it's something
Line.
else. I think it's
They
Line.
use
Yeah,
Line.
there you go,
Yeah.
Line. Yeah. You know,
Line,
they already use Line. We already use Discord. Like, we already use so many things. Why did we need something specifically for 14 that doesn't even do all the things that we maybe wish it could do and has some page? It didn't make any sense.
Just do a Discord integration, Square, please.
Yeah.
Arthas, maybe you have. I don't know if you know or not, because you interact with the JP community way more than I do. Do you know if they use the app at all?
No. I haven't heard anybody talk about coupon nuts. I haven't heard anybody talk about. No, I didn't even download it myself. I don't remember anybody okay, if something is great, right? It will be on Twitter. I never seen anything. I never seen people like talk to one another because it's such a good feature. They like Ethys say, all of us were using Line. Like, if we are not on Discord at home, if my static member needs to find me, they will message me. I actually installed Line just for that. We are not going to install the mobile app just for that. Because we didn't need... Okay, if the mobile app is there when the game first released, I don't think that time Discord was the thing, right? When 2.0 first released, maybe I say yes. Today, we might still be using it. Maybe even not. But it was just set to not be of any use. Now, I don't even know what the other features are, like the market checking. Like, do people use that? That one I'm not sure. But for communication, no way. I don't think anybody uses it at all.
And
even
I think,
the JPs.
You know, the other funny part about all this too is if they even link the in-game chat to like Discord or our social program, does it matter? We just use Discord anyways. Why would we? I don't know, that whole little aspect of trying to link the chat within the game to another app somewhere else. We're just past that point. Like, you log in, you don't really talk to people on linked shells. You don't really talk to people in these different little things, and it's just we log in with all of our other social things outside of the game and enjoy the game together that way.
That's why a lot of people say, right? MMORPG is not the same as before. You're gonna think of it the other way. While you lose this, right, you gain so much more. I would say we really gain so much more. Like, limitation, there's no limit right now. Like, finding static. Dude, do you know how bad it was finding a static back then in MMO? You have to sit there, wait for people to shout, and hope that you are sitting there, that you can join a group. specifically for something. If you missed it, you missed it. Now we can have like online, we have scheduling, we have things we can check, we can multiple groups recruiting. Like we actually gain more than we actually lose in terms of social doubt. If you're talking about just purely in game, we lose a lot. But overall, right, the whole MMO experience, right, nowadays it's not just about the game anymore. And I think people needs to understand that.
Okay. We're going a little long. We can probably have a little bit more time here though. Ethys, do you have a little bit more time, like 20 more minutes, 30 more minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. You know what you're getting into.
Get ready for lunch.
Yeah. And it looks like Discord's working a lot better. Yeah, so it's just something with me and Zoom here. Hopefully I can get that figured out. Maybe by next time I do the show, it'll be fixed. But I guess what I want to see in the end is what can I hope for in the future of when I'm playing these games? Like, is it going to be, are we looking at Final Fantasy still existing in some way? Or are we all looking at Battle Royale and we're looking at Monster Hunter style games, and those are the games that are going to take over the market, and all these stuff like Final Fantasy 14, WoW, and everything else are just kind of gradually just fade away?
I mean, FPS and single player RPGs didn't disappear when all these other things came out. They may have adapted in some way, the ones that are still around, or maybe a new one was worked on, but they don't just disappear because something else is popular at the time. If that was the case, then when WoW got popular, everything else would have disintegrated behind it pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're looking almost at the opposite in a way that a lot of other genres of games are trying to incorporate aspects of MMOs and are becoming these sort of like pseudo MMOs. And I think that kind of form is going to be more popular in the future because it's taking it's trying anyway to take all of the best things about MMORPGs and kind of fuse them with other genres. But I just think that is really telling that there's no way the MMO is going to die. If every other genre is looking at saying, oh, let's do this like that. Let's have these sort of social experiences that are more like that. Let's have players, playing together in one space where they can see each other and communicate with each other. And that's something that people are finding really rewarding. Then I'm sure MMOs are going to keep doing just fine.
Okay.
I think MMO MMO is okay for now. Like you guys say, right? It works the other way around. If console games, if single player games are still alive, right? There's no reason why MMO. But the thing is, I only feel that the quality might be different. I don't want to say worse or better. I just think the quality will be different. Like how much development they put in, what functions are we getting? Because like Ethys say, right? Other single player games, even like FPS shooters, even like games that is not built MMO, they somehow will find a way, like DLCs or something, to integrate some sort of MMO in them, like some sort of social aspect. There's some sort of even people talking about the game, even though it's not in the game. Like MMO, right, has to change a little bit to catch up, to stay relevant. Now, this also comes in the form of like they are, like, for example, Mock Station, things like that. These are the things that they also have to come up with. Although a lot of people is like shitting, say, "Oh my god, cash shop! Why does MMO need a cash shop? Why are we not getting like, dude? When you play other games, they do the same. Business point of view, they have to do the same. And guess what? If they got more money, they maybe can put in more into the game. We can at least keep MMO alive for now. Because let's face it, man. I look at future gaming, right? I think mobile will eventually, I don't want to say take over, or I don't want to say they make the best game. I think mobile eventually is what most company, at some point, right? Most company or most developer might just focus on. I'm not saying that they will stop making FPS game. I'm not saying that they will stop making console game. I'm not saying they will stop making MMO. I just think that eventually everybody wants to go into making mobile. Cheaper to make. You get so much money out of it. Players don't need to feel too attached to it as well. I think, like, think about it, man. It's difficult to match like instant gratification games like that, especially if you have money, right? So for MMOs to also go into this route, not just relying on sub, but also going into, selling cosmetic, things like that, I think will make them at least stay relevant. Hey, if you're an MMO developer, you think like Yoshida, right? Dude, Yoshida has devoted 7-8 years into one game already. He could easily, right, go to somewhere else, make a ton more money for Square Enix if he were to say, I don't know, make a mobile or 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 mobile game if all of them were to fail, right? Like the fact that a developer like this were to sit down and still make MMO, although it's not perfect, some of us think it is or it should be, but at least we got this version, and I think we should be able to see it keep going. Now the thing is, I'm not sure who is going to be the next one. Do I see Final Fantasy 14 play for another 5, 15 years, 10 years? No, let's not go that far. 5, 10 years, I think so. I just look based on how Square Enix and how Final Fantasy as a franchise overall work in Japan. Like, I think even if, right, all the EU or all the NA were to stop playing, right, I still think Final Fantasy 14 will keep going just because they have a very solid Japanese community. But who is going to be the next one to fill that void after that? I think that is the bigger question. Although now we still have, will we get more? Like, do you guys know of any MMO that is going to be up and coming, bracket WoW killer? Like, I don't know, man. How long do I have to wait,
I guess until we all die out, right?
That's the fact.
Yeah, well, yeah, basically. And so, I mean, I don't think Final Fantasy 14 is ever going to find a way to kill itself because it's doing a pretty good job. It just, this kind of works, and we go through this whole...
Floating?
Yeah, it's doing a pretty good job kind of floating and doing little things over here and there. And even though a player, I guess, of my mentality may not be as happy with a lot of different things that are in the game, I can't be upset that other people are happy, I guess, as long as other people are happy. And I think when people start talking about successful games, single-player games are supposed to be dead, but then you look at God of War, you look at Spider-Man, you're looking at other different games out there. Successful games, I don't think are, I guess, organized in like, single-player, multiplayer games, and these are why they succeed. You just got to make a good fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make something that someone can boot up and be like, hey, I'm actually enjoying myself. I'm happy. I want to continue playing.
That's, you know what? It doesn't have to have a social aspect because people will just take their experience to social media as it is to share it with everyone else.
Right. And I mean, I guess what a lot of developers might be looking at, though, or they're looking at the new generation of people who are coming and playing video games, because these are the people who are going to keep funding your money way after these people are even working at that company anymore. So they still have to try to keep up with these trends and different things. And honestly, I mean, this is something that they didn't really have to think about as much way back in the day, because there was nothing, right? We were kind of born into the creation and birth of online entertainment and video games.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Yeah, our standards are a little bit lower.
Yeah, we were a lot lower.
We were easily entertained.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, most people now need to be entertained, again, like I was saying earlier, I think quickly. And they need to be happy with what they're doing. And if they're not, if they look at something and they're like, I'm going a few minutes and now my attention is not really held anymore because I'm kind of bored and I'm done, I move on to the next thing, then that's it. The game will have flaws and failures. There's a lot of, by the way, I haven't looked at this fucking document once during this entire show.
No, me neither. Not once.
I've been just kind of moving. I looked through this. We pretty much hit most of everything that I can see, except for actually comparing some of the stuff that we actually see currently within Final Fantasy 14. Which I think I do want to hit a little bit on, just really quick, because we want to drive this back to 14 a bit. Do you think right now, and this goes back to a little bit to the difficulty levels in comparison and what we're seeing, the 24-man, I think, is a pretty hot topic in difficulty level with a lot of the player base right now. Because there's a lot of people who are not happy because it's the content's as difficult as it is in comparison to what someone might call difficult. because parties just leave. They're just done. They're like, we wiped twice, I'm done. I don't have time for this. And that kind of goes back to a lot of the conversation we've already had today, right?
That's what autofill's for.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If people want to leave, they can leave.
And on the other aspect of that as well, people are taking the full lockout to clear this content.
Still?
I don't know steal. I haven't actually done it since I did the first time, to be honest with you.
Why did you say still? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, okay. My personal experience, right? After, like, at the weekend, there wasn't any problem at all already. Like, even for, okay, I don't know what, like, I say this 2 weeks ago, I think, on MogTalk, like, I don't understand what people want. It's your first time. It's your first pool. Probably your first lockout since it's your first time. Like, what do you expect? Like, if you wipe on your first pool, first time seeing it, first instance, are you gonna call it difficult? Because if you do so, right, I don't even know what else would be like acceptable for you. What, expert dungeon?
Well, I mean, that's the kind of mentality I was kind of thinking about. Is people want to see you. They put I guess the fight's like 7-8 minutes or something on a boss, and they want to clear it the first time. They don't want to have to go back and redo it again. And we're upset with our group, and we're upset with the party, and we're upset that we failed at this from one attempt. And that's why it's kind of weird to me. Like, we were talking about how this is kind of the reward for people. This is their carrot, is the game itself. They come in and they play it. Do you think we're going to keep going in that direction to where everything needs to be cleared to where almost everyone can do it within one pool, and that's them enjoying their carrot?
Because people have been complaining about it since A Realm Reborn, about the 24 match.
Yeah. I think they've been consistent with it, right?
Yeah, they haven't changed.
Void Arc was the only time where it kind of fell off, and then they apologized because they said Void Arc was undertuned by accident, and then Wiping City came out, and we had a discussion really for probably the biggest point this discussion was ever at, and they went on stage and said, "We're not nerfing it. That's like a good difficulty for us to have it." And everyone was like, "Yeah."
So what Arthars is saying, like this idea that you've seen, this is the first time you've seen it, you fully expect to clear it. Like, are you serious? That seems to be the exact same attitude that the dev team has got. Where it's like, no, that's fine. You can complain about it. That's fine. But there's a limit to how much we're gonna pander. And
I think they
on that.
The dev, I don't think they are stupid, I'm pretty sure they also know it's just week one, it's just day one, just a knee-jerk effect.
Of course
and
they're not.
They have numbers to see as well, the clear rate. I think so, right? They got number. I think they themselves know it's fine. I think they themselves know it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the difficulty at all. I think it's okay. My only problem is the reward, how the reward structure is tied to the 24-man. But in terms of difficulty, right? It never felt to me like it would be too difficult. It never felt to me like I will face roll it. Week one especially, I know that if I were to go in first day, second day, third day, it's going to take more than the time, double, triple the time I take on second, third, fourth week. But at the end of the day, it's a 3-month content, or for this case, 6-7 months content. I don't see it as an overall whole picture, right? The developer will look at it and say, yeah, this is too difficult. Like, Steps of Faith is another one, but then Steps of Faith, they nerf it,
right?
So I think that one is, wait, is it on the document regarding story as well? Like, okay, that one is more tied to story. Maybe they felt like they need to, just like did they nerf Shinryu? No, I don't remember about Shinryu.
No,
but
I mean, they kind of just accepted at some point that players get stronger, stuff gets easier.
I mean, and that's the truth, and that's what I think most players need to understand too. Is that people get better as they understand the content. It's not supposed to be, I feel like a god sometimes going through the content in the game. Because I feel like I just cut through it. Like a hot butter knife going through butter, right?
Dude, you're the fucking warrior of light.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm playing god mode sometimes with this game. But yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into it because we could go for a very long time on that. I just wanted to hit it once because that was one of the things that kind of affected me, and I felt like that is a really good reflection on a lot of the conversation we've had today. And I hate to have to try to wrap up this conversation, but I have work in 24 minutes.
Oh shit!
So I want to basically go into a few ending, just a quick ending topic here, and then wrap everything up. So right now we're thinking about Final Fantasy 14, and we're thinking about the future of Final Fantasy 14. There's little things they could do to make this appeal to more players, and hit all these different little 1% populations within the game, and have like 100 different ideas, right? To do that. Do we think with Final Fantasy 14 that we're going to be lasting for another 10 years?
If we get an update every 3.5 months for the next 10 years, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
As soon as they falter from that,
consistency is the key here.
Yeah, as long as they consistently, again, I don't think we can say it's enough, but I think it's good enough. If they can even keep up what they are right now, right? Like 5.0, 6.0, 7.0, even if they do the same shit, same shit, but consistently, at least we know what we expect. Although at some point, I think the leftover players are the more hardcore, we can say, right? More hardcore players that maybe one more. But if they can keep consistency like that, and if there is no other games that come out and somehow destabilize them, and if they are destabilized and they don't improve, I think yes. I think easily 5 to 10. Easily.
What other company?
Oh, and also if Final Fantasy 11 is still alive, then I think it will still be alive. Yeah.
Yeah. What other company? All right, so Square Enix is a big fan-based company. There's a lot of fan Final Fantasy stuff, which I think, again, contributes a lot to the success of an MMO. Like WoW had a lot of big, huge fan base that was excited to play in this world of their favorite game company. Same thing with Final Fantasy. What other game companies out there exist that could produce something with such a fan base? Halo?
Bethesda.
I don't
Bethesda?
know,
Well, they already
that's
did,
the
right?
$1 million question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bethesda, both of their main IPs are really, really strong and draw people.
Okay.
At least they were at some point.
They are kind of getting they have been getting kind of pooped on a little bit recently. That's all right. Okay. Well, guys, let's go ahead and hit some closing statements. I really appreciate you guys coming in and dealing with all the technical difficulties and having a conversation with me. I wish I had about 10 hours to talk about this. I wish I had
People
plenty of
complain
time.
about me talking? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, maybe these kind of topics. I mean, we might be doing this with MogTalk more in the future, where we just have these kind of open, general conversations about the world we are in. The world is in the gaming world we're in, right? The different things that we think about outside of just straight update topics with Final Fantasy 14. I feel like that's definitely something I want MogTalk to be more about. And I appreciate you guys coming and helping me with that.
Anytime.
You know it.
All right. Happy, you want to do any last words, shout outs, or anything before we go off air here?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's been a busy last 3 Saturdays because I was on Ethys Radio for the last 2, and then this one's this week. But it was a good topic. It was a good time. I didn't mind any of the technical difficulties because it was good conversation, and I would gladly do it again. As for me, Mrhappy1227, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's the same on all those. And I'm patiently waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 on Tuesday and for the European Fan Fest next Saturday. So hopefully everyone else is looking forward to that too.
Absolutely. All right. And thank you for coming on, of course, Happy. Arthars?
Thanks for having me today again, as usual. And putting me with great guests like Happy and Ethys. Like, I don't really, again, I always say this every time, right? Like, I don't get to play with them because of time difference, data center difference, but it's good that, sometimes we come together and we talk about this. And hey, today I don't think I rage, which is nice because I really like this topic. I've been waiting for, hearing people who also played MMOs just like me, passion for MMOs, for this decade or two, you know. So yeah, I've been wanting to hear how everybody says. At the same time, you know, a lot of people that I hate 14. I'm always complaining. But yeah, I think today I think today's show shed a lot of light how I feel and how we feel about the game itself. So thanks for that. And also yeah, twitch.tv/Arthars. Although I don't really play a lot of FF14 recently, but still streaming consistently just to get ready for 5.0. And also, hey, this game is casual, so I can get to play more games. Yay!
There you go. Thank you so much, Arthas, for coming on, man. And
hey, no problem, man.
Ethys.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. It's always a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm glad I got up in time.
Yeah, it's good.
Because I almost didn't.
Yeah.
If any of you guys are in Paris next week for the European Fan Fest, I will be there, as will Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be a stranger. Come up and say hi, and give Frosty a big kiss right on the mouth.
That's horrible.
I would consider that a personal favor. Yeah, so please don't be a stranger. But otherwise, yeah, you can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the places as Ethys Asher. Thanks again, Frosty.
Yeah, of course, man. I love having you on. And everybody watching this stream, thank you so much for dealing with all the technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll get this figured out by the next MogTalk, which on that topic, of course, we won't be having a MogTalk next weekend because as Ethys said here, I'm going to be in Europe at FanFest. You know, it's funny. February 2nd is Saturday, which is when I would normally do MogTalk, but I'm going to be in Paris. It's my birthday as well. Yeah, so I'll be out there. If you guys come up and talk to me, you can wish me happy birthday. That's fine too. Don't go too crazy. Oh, don't do it, please. But no, I'll be there, and I'll be doing the FRC shoutcasting on Sunday. Sunday, I believe it's around 2 p.m. In Paris time. If that makes any sense. You'll guys, whoever's there, we'll see it on schedule, of course. And then we will probably be doing some shows after that weekend. I'm going to likely take whatever topics kind of get produced from that show happening, and then we'll kind of spread it over a few shows next couple weekends. But I won't really know that until after FanFest. And also, if you guys want to catch me streaming, I've been doing a lot of PvP recently. You can always usually in the morning, I've been doing 4 or 5 hours of PvP Feast Analysts and so on, which I will be doing more with the new PvP content that's created coming up soon too. But yeah, it's at this channel. You can follow it if you want to. If you don't want to, I understand. But guys, thank you all. We will be back in a couple of weeks. Guys, enjoy FanFest, everything else. And remember, be good. Oh, wait, you know what? Before I do that, I have to put a couple more thanks out. Thank you, Kiara, for supporting me and being awesome in the background. Thank you so much for the moderators. Thank you, Blizana, for the artwork on the stream. And thank you, Andre Kane, for the music that I use in the intro and the closing. Guys, stick around. We're going to do a host here in just a moment. Be good, keep cool, stay frosty. Bye! Everybody wave even though they can't see you.
Bye. Bye.
Dude, I actually wave? What the fuck? I actually wave.